It truly is a beautiful day in the big city. What could be more glorious than that? The Central Park Reservoir. Used to run around that with ease. Not so easy as you get older. Of course, the subways lead not only to Union Square, but to Citi Field, and plenty of folks making their way out to see the Mets as they try and overcome some tough times. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Colorado Rockies. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez joins me in just a moment as the Mets play Game 3 of their 4-game series against the Rockies. Well, for the last week, there's been plenty of discussion about Johan Santana. Would he pitch again this year? Would he not? Ultimately, it was Johan's back that made the decision. He had an MRI on his bulky back yesterday. It turns out he has inflammation in the back, and the diagnosis is that rest and medication will be the best thing to make that back better and get him ready for next year. So the Mets have now shut Santana down for the year, and after a very difficult stretch over his last 5 starts, Santana out for the year. But you don't want to forget about the good work he did this year.
Well, he was very much a part of that very surprising first half the Mets had, where the starting pitching was so spot on. He had a terrific start. Remember, he got hardly any run support. His record was not indicative of how well he pitched. You know, everybody talks about the no-hitter, him going deep in that game, but I really think, Gary, if you look back, that game against the Cubs when he got spiked and sprained the ankle, he never was the same after that. And I can tell you a bit about backs. Backs are problematic. I've got one that's going to be with me the rest of my life. Hopefully it's not going to be that for Santana. And look to the future. Right now with this team where they're at, it's good to lay him down, let him rest, and come back next year.
Young Colin McHugh will come up from the minor leagues, make the start for Santana tomorrow. Meanwhile, it's Matt Harvey who pitches tonight. And Harvey arguably had his best start yet his last time out against the Reds.
Well, you know, that first start in Arizona from raw stuff was just dazzling. But his last start out against a very good offensive ball club on the road at Cincinnati, he was really impressive. No walks, which was most important in that 7 2/3 where he only gave up 1 run and 4 hits.
There's the Hyundai starting lineup for the Rockies tonight. Who does figures to give Harvey the most trouble?
Well, you got to look, obviously, Carlos Gonzalez, the left fielder back from the bereavement list. You know, he had 336 2 years ago. He's one of the finest hitters in the game today. That's got to be the guy you got to be careful. Dexter Fowler's having a good year, but there's no Todd Helton and Troy Tulowitzki in this lineup, so you can pick your spots right there, the 3 and 4 hitters in the lineup, and be careful with the catcher.
So Harvey tries to keep his fine season going as the Mets look to get a win against the Rockies. All the action coming your way tonight on SNY. to you by Geico, by Budweiser, by StubHub. Be here in person the next time the Mets take the field. Head to StubHub and choose your seats today. By Premium Rush in theaters Friday. By your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. And by State Farm. Tonight's State Farm agent of the day is Alan Wheeler of Brooklyn. Contact Alan's office at alanwheeler.biz. Merengue Night returns to Citi Field this Friday night when the Mets host the Astros. Sergio Vargas headlines the postgame concert, presented by Budweiser and sponsored by Delta Airlines in Atlantic City. Log on to Mets.com. Drive Around the Majors presented by Mazda. Bartolo Colon banned for 50 games for using performance-enhancing drugs. James Shields this afternoon got the Rays back on the right track. That's 16 of the last 21 as they beat the Royals 5-3. Ryan Braun hit his 34th. Giovanni Gallardo 7 good innings. Brewers complete a sweep of the Cubs 3-2. Terry Collins and the Mets getting ready to face the Rockies tonight. From Chelsea Market to Citi Field, all the action coming up.
Called in television terminology the old pop around, and we're going to show you Ike Davis at first base, brought to you by Lexus. Cedeno gets the start at second base. He's been doing a fantastic job. Then Ruben Tejada, the steady shortstop, playing terrific all year long. The all-star David Wright at third base. He's been there, I forget how long. And there's Jason Bay gets a start. He's out in left field. Torres, who's been getting a lot of playing time, he's back in center field. And Mr. Hairston, who has just done terrific, and behind the plate, the new pickup for the Mets, Kelly Shopak. And on the mound, Matt Harvey, his sixth start, coming off a terrific start, as we said in the open, against the Cincinnati Redlegs. And he was brilliant. And you can see right there the batting averages left and right are pretty awesome.
That was very smooth.
Thank you.
One thing, how come everybody got the Lexus logo on him except for Ronnie Cedeno?
I didn't notice. I was so nervous. I never did a pop around.
You did a great job. That was that was poppy.
Greg said, Webby said, we're going to do a pop around. I said, what's that?
Charlie Blackmon leads off for the Rockies, who've won the first 2 games of the series. Matt Harvey's first pitch of the night is up and away for ball 1. Blackmon 2 for 9 in this series, making his 4th start for the Rockies. Jonathan Herrera, Dexter Fowler to follow. Lots of speed at the top of that Rockies batting order, and Blackmon takes a strike. 1-1. Matt Harvey coming off 7 2/3 tremendous innings against the Reds his last time out. As you look at Herrera on deck, he allowed just a run on 4 hits. He was perfect for the first 4 innings in that game. And he threw predominantly fastballs and sliders, very few changeups in that start.
Well, that's what he did his first start, where he was just lights out against the Arizona Diamondbacks. He just sprinkled in a few changeups. And he's got a tremendous breaking ball too, Gary, as we know. He's a power pitcher. He's drop and drive. Here it comes.
5 previous starts. He's allowed 2 earned runs or less in 4 of the 5. And there's the curveball that misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He can throw both the curve and the slider. And there you see his numbers from the last start. Look at the number at the bottom. Only 89 pitches in 7 2/3 innings. He was extremely efficient. Got a lot of very quick outs against the Reds. They had one stretch where 7 straight hitters put the first pitch into play. Not the case here with Blackmon, who's worked the count to 2-2.
Well, Harvey had that tremendous first start. Then he had the next 2 starts, he started throwing a lot of change-ups and so got really roughed up in San Diego. But had 2 good starts in a row against Atlanta and the Reds.
He's an early Cholula flamethrower, and then he throws the curveball that Blackmon fouls off, and it's 2-2.
No, we're going to see a lot of that today.
Well, Harvey was bound and determined to pound the strike zone his last start because he had some walk problems in his previous outing, and he really did. Was able to throw predominantly strikes all night. 7th pitch of this opening at bat, and Blackmon goes down on the fastball, and Harvey fans the first batter of the night.
Well, I think also, Gary, he's getting more comfortable in the big leagues. You know, you're up here, your first couple starts, you're kind of getting your feet wet. I just think he's kind of fitting in now, getting more comfortable.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jonathan Herrera, the shortstop. Troy Tulowitzki was out taking ground balls here today, and in fact he was pronounced good to go for a rehab assignment this weekend. So the Rockies hope to have Tulowitzki back before the end of the year. He's been out almost 3 months now. And Herrera takes a strike. Josh Rutledge had been doing a great job filling in for Tulowitzki, but he's got a little bit of a thigh problem right now, and so Herrera's started all 3 games in this series. A ball and a strike from Harvey.
Well, Herrera in the first 2 games has been very big part of the 2 victories for Colorado. He's always that way against the Mets.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Always right in the middle of things. He had that push bunt that led to the go-ahead run in the first game of the series.
Did you see that fastball right there? What's most impressive about that? It was 98 miles an hour. But usually the gun's higher on a high fastball. That was a knee-high fastball at 98. That's impressive. That should have been a Cholula.
1-2. Well, that's another Cholula at 97. We could hand out multiple iconic wooden caps tonight from Mr. Harvey.
That is a blazing fastball. And every start so far in the first inning, Harvey kind of settles in. He comes out around 94, 95. There you go.
And he strikes out Herrera, who doesn't bother trying to run to first. Shopik will slap a tag on him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Harvey to start the night.
Wow, you got to run, don't you? Well, this is what you've got to learn to do, too. When you're ahead in the count like this with that vicious breaking ball, throw it in the dirt. See if the fish are biting. You've got to run that thing out.
I don't understand. He made absolutely no effort to run to first base as that ball was rolling the other direction away from Shopik. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Dexter Fowler, 3 for 6 in this series and having a tremendous season. He's hitting at .306 for the year, 7th in the National League. Leads the league in triples, 5th in the league in on-base percentage. And Fowler takes inside for ball 1.
Well, he's got 2 RBI in the series, both of them last night. A run scored, a stolen base.
And Harvey works him up and away, 2-0. Carlos Gonzalez, playing for the first time in this series, waits on deck. Behind Fowler, the switch hitting center fielder. Swings at the 2-0 and grounds it down to first. Davis makes the play, and a very good beginning for Matt Harvey. Gets the side 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. Mets come to bat against Jeff Francis in the bottom of the first with no score. Brought to you by Geico. Ronnie Cedeno, who's been hitting lefties very well this year, slides into the number 2 hole behind Ruben Tejada. Jason Bay gets a start as well. Only one left-hand hitter in the lineup. That's Ike Davis against the veteran left-hander Jeff Francis.
Well, back in 07, when those Colorado Rockies won the National League Championship, losing to the Red Sox, he was their ace. His best year, won 17 ball games.
Last year pitched in Kansas City, then wound up in spring training this year with Cincinnati. They let him go in June after he'd made 12 minor league starts, and the Rockies picked him up and put him right in the rotation. Ruben Tejada 2 for 8 in this series, hitting at .310 for the year. And the soft tossing left-hander misses outside with a changeup, a ball and a strike.
Well, it hasn't been easy for him. 16th start of the year and 72 2/3, an ERA over 6. So this is all part of this rotation for Colorado that's not been pitching very well, and actually forced manager Jim Tracy to go to what, 9? Now they got 8 guys in the bullpen.
Bo McLaughlin, the pitching coach who took over for Bob Apodaca, who was reassigned earlier this year. 4-man rotation for the Rockies, 75 pitch limit, and 8 relievers. And they've developed a new term. That's poked the other way by Tejada, and he's got himself a base hit. Chased to the corner by Blackman. Tejada heads for second, and he'll make it easily with a leadoff double. So Ruben has his 21st double of the year. The Mets have the leadoff man on.
Well, Ruben stays level. They're coming inside. Belt high. Didn't get it there, and he just kind of moves it out over the opposite field. His key to him is to keep the ball out of the air.
So a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Now Cedeno. Since the All-Star break, Ronnie Cedeno is hitting .342. And for the year, he's hitting .328 against lefties. So he's getting a more prominent role tonight as the number 2 hitter. Corners are in against Cedeno, looking for the possibility of a bunt. And Ronnie tries to push a bunt and fouls it off.
Which I don't really agree. I know the Mets are struggling right now, and it's really been kind of a thumb in their eye here with the worst pitching staff in baseball. The Mets have only scored 3 runs in the first 2 ball games. But look, Cedeno's one of your hot hitters. He knows how to handle the bat. Let him swing it.
From Terry's reaction, it's almost as though Cedeno was doing that on his own.
Swing it. And the corner's in, as you saw the defense.
And Cedeno takes inside, a ball and a strike. Anyway, the Rockies have coined a new term now. You know, anytime a pitcher starts, the manager has it in his mind who the long man might be if that starter doesn't go very long. But Jim Tracy has a plan every day to have a second pitcher. What we would call a long man, they now call a piggyback pitcher. So they've always got a plan for a particular reliever to be the piggyback guy behind the starter. And today, the piggyback guy for the Rockies is Adam Ottavino, former Cardinal who grew up in Brooklyn. And because they knew in advance that Ottavino would be the piggyback guy, he's got 150 people in the ballpark today.
Great. Family members.
Family, friends, all sorts of folks.
And you know, with the 75 pitches too, and their rotation not really pitching that good, it kind of eliminates the 5 and fly. You used to scream at pitchers that you were 5 and fly because they went 5 innings and would go into the shower and they'd be on the winning side when they left the game.
Now it's like 4 and fly.
Well, you can't even call it that.
Slow ground ball. Herrera with a tough play, and he got him by a stride. Nice play by Jonathan Herrera. And Cedeno advances Tejada to third.
Well, nice play by Herrera, who's really a second baseman. With Tulowitzki on the DL, he's been playing shortstop, and this is a nice play right there. And it still amazes me. This game is over 100 years old. The players are faster today, and still the dimensions, the geometric dimensions of the baseball field are perfect. It's
90 feet, just right.
You think that maybe at some point maybe we have to raise the basket because guys are getting too tall. They brought in the hash marks in football, but not baseball. It's perfect.
Here's David Wright, infield back, conceding a run on a ground ball. David's got great career numbers against Jeff Francis. And the curveball right at his feet for ball 1.
Of course, like Rocky defense. And
no pop around?
No, once is enough. They're not pushing my luck here. So, Gold Glover in 2010, Carlos Gonzalez back from the bereavement list, but one of the best hitters in the game. Really, really a beautiful swing.
1-0 to Wright. 75 RBIs for the year, hitting at .320. And Francis keeps it away from him. 2-0. David is 6 for 12 against Francis with 3 home runs. He's gone 8 games without an RBI. Time for him to cash one here with a runner at third and 1 out.
Well, he had an opportunity last night and struck out the runner on first and third, less than 2 outs.
And Francis pitching it very carefully, falls behind 3-0.
Let him hit.
Scott Hairston hitting cleanup tonight, as he generally does against the left-handers, waiting on deck.
And David's next home run is number 200. Am I correct?
Got 85 at bats now, waiting for that 200th home run. July 27th was his last one against Josh Colmetter, and now they'll give him intentional ball 4. So Francis never wanted any part of Wright during that at bat.
Now, is that scored an intentional pass?
It is.
Okay. Just checking.
As long as the ball 4 is intentional, it does go in the books that way. So here's Hairston, who may not have the gaudy numbers that Wright has against Francis, but he is 7 for 18 against him. That's .389.
Well, they're going to play him pretty much straight up. And I tell you what, remember that one little stretch, the last road trip, Garrett? Not the last road trip, the Arizona-San Francisco road trip, when Scott was going to right field. Well, he's back to pulling the ball now.
And he's been scorching it for a while. Last 24 games, he's hitting .358. So Francis in a first inning mess, first and third and 1 out. And Hairston takes the off-speed pitch for ball 1.
It's always painful to see a pitcher that really, he was never a really hard thrower, but now he's a soft tosser. But Jeff Francis, he had shoulder surgery, did not pitch in all of 09, missed the entire season, and never has been the same since the shoulder surgery.
There's a strike to Hairston, a ball and a strike. Ike Davis sitting 5th in the order, waits on deck. Here's the numbers for Hairston against Francis. Scott having a fine year, playing about 2/3 of the time. 14 home runs, 44 driven in, hitting .277. And the breaking ball hit down the left field line. Coming over is Gonzalez to get there and make the catch. Tejada comes in to score the first run of the game as Gonzalez throws home well too late and misses the cutoff man. Wright holds at first. Sacrifice fly for Hairston. 1-0 New York.
Well, curveball down and in, and kind of a adjusting swing here. Look at him kind of make the adjustment there. Went down and got it. Got in a little bit in on him. He does not get cheated.
45 RBIs now for Hairston, so a run is in. Right at first and 2 down. And here's Ike Davis, the only left-handed bat in the lineup tonight. Ike's hitting just 176 against lefties this year, but 7 of his 22 home runs have come against left-handers.
And that's at 136 at bats. And he has really made. We saw this change around a month ago, Gare. Ike spreading out his stance, legs wide apart. You can see the big shift, not in the outfield, on the infield. But Ike much more crouched, upright from the waist up. So it's almost like he's just sitting down, almost prepared to sit down on a chair.
Kind of like Jeff Bagwell used to.
Correct. And very widespread now. Almost his foot is almost out of the back there, out of the box.
He is out of the batter's box. If he's on the chalk, it's only barely. Wright takes off. Davis swings and misses. Rosario's throw right on the money, and Wright is tagged out. 2-6 on the caught stealing. Wilden Rosario showing off a nice arm. Wright is caught for the 10th time in 22 tries, but the Mets cash a first inning run on Hairston's sacrifice fly and lead 1-0 after 1. You can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Day game tomorrow. Colin McHugh makes his major league debut, pitching for the Mets in place of Johan Santana, who's been shut down for the year. Astros come in over the weekend. Then the Mets go to Philadelphia, Miami, and St. Louis on their next road trip. Carlos Gonzalez returning to the Rockies tonight. Missed 3 games, including the first 2 of this series. His grandfather passed away, so he was home in Venezuela. Just got back late last night, having another tremendous year. And Gonzalez takes outside for ball 1.
And we talked about the change in hitting last night, Gary, about the toe tap. Well, this is the old-fashioned hitter right here. Not too widespread. Uses his body's in sync. Uses his lower and upper body. He's very open in his stance, but if you watch at home, folks, when he lifts that leg, he's got a leg kick. He's striding right in. You can see the slight open stance. Not so spread out. and striding right in. And I tell you what, he's got a beautiful swing. He's 5th in the league, tied for 5th in the league with a 320 batting average. There you go. They're the numbers. He's just having a fabulous year.
26 years old. Traded twice early in his career from Arizona to Oakland to Colorado.
And they were
found a home here.
They were for big name people too. It wasn't just that he just found a late bloomer.
Right. Arizona to Oakland for Dan Herron. Oakland to Colorado for Matt Holliday.
Right.
Will and Rosario waiting on deck.
God, if you're a hitter, would you just love to be drafted by the Rockies and play 81 games at Mile High? Coors Field?
2-2, and Harvey misses up and away. Talking about Gonzalez, the guy who he's always compared to is Carlos Beltran. I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, it's similar. I think he's got a more fluid swing than Carlos. I don't think he has as many holes as Carlos. Right now, I think Carlos doesn't have the power of Beltran.
Foul tip, and it's held by Shopik. That's the 3rd strikeout already for Matt Harvey.
Well, the riding fastball, well, they want it in. That ball just runs away. Had a lot of play. Just beat him. He's throwing hard. There's a big leg kick. And that's a beautiful swing. It really is. I think he's got a better swing than Carlos Beltran. I just realized there's 2 Carloses we're talking about. So I'm sorry I confused you at home.
I wasn't confused.
That's because you're used to me.
Yes, I am. Here's Wilden Rosario, and he takes outside for ball 1. I think most people watching at home, to be honest, they're used to you too. I think they were following right along.
Well, there are Met fans out there watching. Believe me, there's out where I'm at, out there in SAG, they're diehard Met fans.
Rosario, 19 home runs, leading all National League rookies. He's had a very nice rookie season, certainly in the conversation for the National League Rookie of the Year award.
He did not play last night, and he went 0 for 4 in the first game, but he swings a pretty wicked bat, this guy. He doesn't get cheated.
Made an impression even in his 0 for 4. You saw Tyler Colvin on deck. 1-1 from Harvey, and he misses away with the fastball. 2-1. Wilden Rosario, just 23 years old, now getting most of the catching duty with the Rockies.
19 home runs.
And Harvey gets even. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's great when you throw 95, 96, 97. You can just rear back and fire, and you can, you're more apt to make a mistake with your breaking ball and get hurt on a mistake as opposed to a fastball. When you have that kind of velocity, you can get away with it down the middle. He just got such a electric fastball.
2-2. Got him.
Oh.
Good slider by Harvey. He's faced 5 batters, retired them all, and struck out 4 of the 5.
Well, this is what he's going to do whenever he's ahead. If he does this, don't give him a pitch to hit. It's just such a tight slider, Gary. It's hard to lay off. And you got a free swinger right here. Only 19 walks on the year. He's a free swinger. Don't have to throw him a strike.
It's really true of much of this Colorado team. They're 12th in the league in walks, despite some otherwise gaudy offensive numbers. Here's Tyler Colvin with 2 out and nobody on. Colvin having a good series, 3 for 7, a home run, couple of stolen bases last night. He's played a solid first base as well, with Todd Helton out for the year. And he takes the fastball inside for ball 1. And Harvey, we saw it in Cincinnati when Kelly Shopik caught him for the first time, throwing a lot more inside than he had in his first few starts.
Well, why not? When you're throwing 96, 97, you can run that fastball away, but you can get in some pots and pans. Get the hitter worried in, and you got that kind of stuff, and makes things a little bit easier.
And walk number a little under 4 per 9 innings, skewed by 1 start in which he walked 5. Mostly his control's been pretty good. Inside to Colvin, 2-1.
See how Colvin had to rush out of the way of that ball, even if he missed with that fastball in. It's a statement pitch. Coleman has to rush to get out of the way. Nope.
Chris Nelson, the on-deck batter.
He just looks more relaxed. Matt Harvey. He's settling into the big leagues here on his 6th start.
That's a little flamethrower. 2-2. Got him with a breaking ball. Shopik makes the toss down to Davis, and Harvey strikes out the side in the 2nd inning. 5 strikeouts in the first 2 innings for Matt Harvey, and a 1-0 Met lead. Ike Davis leads off in the home second for New York against Jeff Francis. Davis was at the plate when David Wright was caught stealing to end the first. It'll be Davis, Bay, and Torres for the Mets in the second. Mets with a 1-0 lead. And Francis misses away, a ball and a strike.
Well, a slight, really straight up in the outfield, but pull on the infield, no question about that, and very deep.
Pulled foul. Well, that series in Washington concludes tonight. The Nats took the first 2 from the Braves, and they're just getting underway after yet another rain delay. That's the 4th straight day they've had a rain delay in Washington. Last night, Strasburg came back after the rain delay and pitched what turned out to be a gem. 6 innings, 4 hits, 10 strikeouts to beat the Braves 4-1.
And that's a statement series for the Nationals. They got a 7-game lead?
7 games now. Make it 8 with a win tonight.
They sweep. That's going to make it real tough with 5 weeks to go.
But the Braves have their lucky charm on the mound tonight as Davis tried to hold the swing and did, to the satisfaction of Adrian Johnson. Chris Medlin going for the Braves tonight as we look at the National League standings presented by Dunkin' Donuts. The Braves have won the last 16 times that Medlin has started a game. It's been awfully good and in the right place at the right time.
The Phillies with Halladay back and Utley and Howard, they're starting to move up the food chain. A little late.
Good fastball by Francis. That's the hardest one he's thrown tonight to strike out Davis for the first out.
Well, away, away, away. They want it away again. This is right down the middle and up. He swings right through it.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jason Bay. Jason getting the start tonight against Francis, against whom he's had some extraordinary numbers. 8 for 12 with 2 home runs. The caveat to that is the last time that he faced Francis was 2007, and much has changed for Jason since then.
It sure has, and it's really kind of a tragic story.
The season that Bay is having right now is one of historic proportions. Went back and looked at hitters who've had as many at bats in a season for the Mets as Bay has this year. He's already had 152 at bats. The lowest full season average for a player with the Mets with that many at bats, Al Weiss in 1968 hit 172. Well, Bay's got a lot of climbing to get to 172. He's at 151 right now. Francis throws a strike, 2-2.
Well, in '69, correct me if I'm wrong, I remember Wayne Garrett hit on the interstate, correct? In the year they won. I think he hit 190 something.
Have to go look at that, but it was better than 172. And Bay down on strikes. So back-to-back strikeouts for Francis to start the bottom of the second.
Well, chases a high fastball out of the strike zone.
The announcement today that Johan Santana is out for the year certainly enhances the conversation surrounding this ball club about what happens next year. You know, a page has been turned on the 2012 season, and a lot of the conversation regarding what happens next year with this ball club is going to have to start with, what do you do with Jason Bay? Pulled toward the hole by Torres, and he's got himself a 2-out hit. I mean, the Mets owe Jason Bay an enormous amount of money for next year. But off what he's done this year, can you even bring him to spring training?
Well, you could, in the hopes that he has a good spring, and some general manager will think maybe New York was, you know, too much. Big ballpark, maybe get him into more of a hitter's park. Who knows?
I mean, you'd like to have seen some positive sign from Jason this year. And he had the rib injury, he had the concussion, but he's been back now for close to 100 at bats, and there just have been very few positive signs. Here's Kelly Shopping with 2 out and a runner at first. But that contract is so enormous, it's hard to fathom just letting him go and eating that money without getting something in return. And it's hard to think of what they could get in return, unless it's another bad contract.
I think the big question would be, if spring training comes, do you bring him north? Particularly if he doesn't have a good spring, or cut him loose.
Well, there is precedent. Mets last spring, not this year, but last year, brought Oliver Perez and Luis Castillo to camp, and they ended up releasing them both and eating, combined between those two contracts, about what the Mets will owe Jason Bay next year. So they have set precedent in that regard. 1-0 to Shopping. Torres 10 stolen bases on the year, got picked off second in the game last night. It was the play that led to Terry Collins getting ejected when Torres was first ruled safe and then called out.
But it was the correct call. He was out. He was tagged.
And Shopping takes the off-speed pitch for a strike. 1-1. Matt Harvey, who has certainly shown that he can swing the bat, waiting on deck. Shopping appearing in his 5th game for the Mets since coming over in the deal for Pedro Beato from the Red Sox. .31-year-old Jeff Francis, first-round pick by the Rockies back in '02. Pitched in college at the University of British Columbia. He's a Canadian native. Second winningest active pitcher among Canadians. Only Ryan Dempster has more wins. Dempster finally pitched a good game for Texas the other night after a couple of dreadful ones after being traded.
Francis is also number 2 on the all-time win list for Colorado Rocky pitchers.
He won 17 for them the year they went to the World Series in '07. Now just trying to keep his career alive. He's behind on Shopik, 3-1. And Kelly takes a mighty rip at a fastball, 3-2.
Well, the extra 4 teams of an expansion in the 90s certainly helps. That is in today's game. What, they're split 12, 11-man pitching staffs. That's, do the math. That's 44 to 45 jobs.
Yesterday, the Rockies had a 14-man pitching staff. Today, they're down to 13. They excised a reliever when Carlos Gonzalez was activated. Torres will run the 3-2 to Shopik, and he struck him out with a high fastball. So 3 strikeouts in the inning for Jeff Francis. It's not a big part of his resume, but the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
And the doctor said that it's been a long season for me, and you can feel it, and I felt it, but I was able to manage it, And once I'm on the mound, I don't think about it. I'm just competing, but it gets to a point where something is not right, and at this time, the little inflammation that I have on my back is there, so they don't want to get any worse, and that's the reason why they decide to take everything easy now.
At the end of the day, his surgically repaired shoulder was fine. His ankle, which had given him trouble and probably had led to his downfall over the last 5 starts, was fine, and it was his back that acted up and gave the Mets the cover to shut down Santana for the rest of the year. Chris Nelson leads off in the 3rd inning, and he fouls one back from Matt Harvey.
Well, it's another list to the roster. Pelfrey was the first to go down and didn't even make an appearance this year, and G is out for the year. Now Santana. It's hard to replace 3 starters.
Well, they adequately replaced Pelfrey with Chris Young eventually, but at the All-Star break when G went down, that was really, as it turned out, a very important turning point in the season for the Mets, and not in a good way.
Well, I like G. I love the way he pitches. That was really a shame.
2-1 to Chris Nelson, the former first-round draft pick, takes it high 3-1. But I think when you look back at this Mets season and how well they played in the first half, the reason why they were able to get off to such a great start had everything to do with their starting pitching.
Correct.
There's 2 high, ball 4, and that's the first base runner against Harvey tonight. A leadoff walk to Chris Nelson. I mean, what the Mets were doing offensively was kind of unsustainable. Without a lot of power, without any speed, they were trying to bunch hits and win that way, which can take you only so far if you have great starting pitching. But when the starting pitching started to collapse, and it started with the injury to G, everything else collapsed around it.
Well, offensively, they got a spark from Neuenhuis when he got called up.
DJ LeMahieu takes outside.
Torres was really a non-factor from the get-go. Duda was doing okay. Sort of through the first couple months, hitting some home runs. And really got nothing from Ike at first. Occasional home runs. Totally got off to a hot start early, and then he just folded. So, it's the old saying, that's why they play 162. Water seeks its level, cream comes to the top, whatever you want to say. I prefer, that's why you play 162. And, Neuenhuis slumped mightily. Totally been slumping. Ike has not been able to pull out. Duda slumped. That's a big chunk of your offense right there that they were counting on. The youngsters, too.
Hit sharply. Double play possibility from the seat of his pants. Tejada starts the 6-4-3. Tejada staying with that smash and not panicking, and the Mets turn 2.
Well, he's not going to panic. He's so smooth. Just beautifully done. Nice backhand. And I tell you what, Cedeno, who was really, I think, a shortstop by trade, he plays a fine second base. He does a nice pivot here at second. Beautiful feed. He knows what he's doing. He's a better player than I thought. He's a good player, Cedeno. He's done a good job for the Mets this year.
And what Tejada's done goes without saying. Here's the pitcher, Francis, and he takes up and away. By the way, you mentioned Neuenhuis, and that's the other news of the day that kind of got buried with the Santana news, that Kirk Neuenhuis will not play again this year. He's been sitting out a few weeks down in Buffalo with a torn plantar fascia, bottom of his foot, and he was seen by the doctor today, and they diagnosed rest, and so Neuenhuis has now been shut down for the year as well. Which is a shame, because it would have been great if he'd been able to stay healthy and come back here in September and get a little more experience.
Absolutely right. It's this point right now, I think the sooner Duda comes up and get him back in the lineup and let him play every day. A lot of times you come back up, you struggle, you go down to the AAA, you can relax, you kind of get a rhythm going, no pressure, and you come back up in a groove, in a rhythm. Let him play every day, where these games are really not important. It's not like the weight of the world's on the shoulder. Let him relax and go out there and play and see what he can do. And the sooner the better.
See how the team's record is reflected in their starters' ERA. The bullpen was a problem in the first half, a problem in the second half. That's been consistent. There's a strike 3 and 2. But after the starting pitching began to go south, the offense followed.
And there's a positive note right there. Jonathan Neese, to me, has really stepped up this year.
Here's ball 4, and so Francis is on with a walk. Second walk given up in the inning by Harvey. Wrapped around the double play. Well, Neese got his 10th win his last time out, and he seems like he's getting better and better. And one of the goals this year for the Mets was to get Neese to the end of the season healthy and effective. And we'll see now over these last 6 weeks whether he'll be able to do that.
Well, there's no reason why he shouldn't. He's a young man.
Well, 2 years ago he faded badly at the end of the year.
Okay.
Last year he got hurt right about this time.
And I think a lot of that is the stupid pitch counts in the minor leagues, where these kids don't stretch out their arms, and then you can't expect them to come up here and go deep into games when they're not being conditioned down the minor leagues.
There's Charlie Blackmon, and he swings and misses at the changeup from Harvey. Sandy Alderson had an interesting quote today. He was talking about Matt Harvey and how many innings he might pitch this year, and what they'll do with Santana next year in terms of his innings count. And he said there's been a lot of discussion about innings limit, and he says Very little of it is based on hard science, which I thought was a very interesting quote coming from a general manager, because so many decisions are being made about innings limits and the like, and you know, some of it is based on hard information, but most of it is just guesswork.
Well, it makes me think that our general manager is an old schooler. I think I'd be correct in that assessment. I think if you're going to limit innings pitched, don't stretch it out over. You want to get maximum amount of starts. You know, let them go deep into ball games, and if it's 170 and it's August, stop them right there. But let them go 7, 8 innings. What the heck's wrong with that?
Harvey gives up a couple of walks, but no hits. 1-0 Mets in the third. Get a complete recap of tonight's Mets-Rockies matchup with insider info and opinion, plus an in-depth breakdown of tomorrow's lineup as they get ready for their series finale here at Citi Field on Mets Blog, presented by Verizon, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports.
I'll do my Dick Martin imitation. I didn't know that.
But I've been reading that promo all year. Surely you jest. Here's Matt Harvey leading off in the home third. Mets up 1-0. Harvey 3 for 9 in the major leagues with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. And he takes the fastball for ball 1 from Jeff Francis. Harvey, Tejada, and Cedeno up for the Mets in the third. And the late swing foul nearly took out Tejada in the on-deck circle. It's not often to see Ruben crack a smile on the field. He's usually so stoic. And Harvey loops one into right center, and that'll fall for a base hit. So Matt Harvey now a 400 hitter, 4 for 10. And the Mets have the leadoff man on in the third.
Sign him up.
Already did. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. So here's Tejada, who doubled down the right field line and scored the only run of this game in the first. Speaking of young leadoff hitters, Mr. Trout in Anaheim last night played his 100th game of the year. As Tejada tries to push a bunt, and it trickles foul. So in his first 100 games, Mike Trout had 139 hits. It's the most for a rookie since Tony Oliva in 1964. 97 runs in his first 100 games, the most for a rookie since Joe DiMaggio in 1936.
he's impressive. I like his swing.
Now, you said a month ago that you thought he was going to win the batting title. You still think so?
Yes.
He's got a 16-point lead on Miguel Cabrera.
A long way to go, too.
Cabrera, for my money, is the best hitter in baseball.
But Cabrera can't slump.
And he can't run either. And that's where he may get hurt.
And the thing is, when you have this many at-bats this late in the season, guys have 400 at-bats, it's hard to really drop a lot and raise your average. You really have to put a streak together, whether negative or positive.
0-2 from Francis, and Tejada fouls off the fastball.
So really you would have to have two polar extremes for Cabrera to catch. And 60, it can be done.
Still 6 weeks to go.
Oh, it's
Season
plenty
ends
of
6
time.
weeks from
That's
today.
plenty of time. I would feel fairly comfortable with a 16-point lead with 8, 9 games left.
Well, I go back to this. Young players, rookies, have never played 6 months of professional baseball because you don't play in September in the minor leagues, and a lot of them tend to struggle in that last month.
Well, we should look into Fred Lynn's rookie year. But Fred Lynn wasn't a youngster. Fred Lynn came obviously an All-American out of USC. He was 22 years old, I believe, his rookie year.
Yeah, Trout just turned 21.
Yeah.
Check swing tapper. LeMahieu's play is to first to get Tejada as Harvey moves up to second, 1 out.
That was really that year when Fred Lynn came up was magical.
That's 1975. He won Rookie of the Year and MVP for the Red Sox that year.
He just was unbelievable. And then you had that great World Series with the Reds.
Of course, they had Lynn and Jim Rice as rookies that year.
And Jim Rice, as big as he was, I played against Jim Rice in A-ball. He was at Winter Haven, which was the Red Sox affiliate. He was just as strong back in 70. What was that? It was 1972 when I played in the Florida State League, and Jim Rice played. And he was head and shoulders above everybody else in that league.
Our investigative statistician Dave Freed has come up with a number on Lynn. As Cedeno takes inside, he hit .333 in the season's last month, so he held his own.
Yep. I think Trout's going to hang in there. I love his swing. I like his swing better than Harper's with the Washington. They're both.
Harper's so violent.
He's got it's not a pretty swing. He squares it up. Doesn't have to be pretty.
Grounded down to Nelson at third. Harvey has to hustle back to the bag at second, as Cedeno's thrown out for the second out.
But Trout has got a beautiful swing, fluid.
That team has problems which have nothing to do with Trout or his teammate, the power hitting Mark Trumbo. Those two young players have held up their end. They're just 3 games over 500, which is amazing with all that talent.
They got off to a terrible start too. They're going to walk right again.
Second straight time that David will be intentionally walked. So with those gaudy numbers against Jeff Francis wanted no part of him.
It's the right move, and that's David's 15th intentional pass this year.
Well, Jim Tracy decided this was the guy they didn't want to beat them tonight. So instead they'll go after Scott Hairston, who delivered a run with a sacrifice fly his first time up.
Maybe we can get Dave to check my intentional walks in 1984 with my first year at the Mets. I think I led the league in intentional passes that year.
Really? You were feared.
Well, it was a young Darryl. It was all left-handers that would walk me to pitch to Darryl late in the game because Darryl was a rookie. Really hadn't developed against left-handers. Was learning.
Did he make them pay?
I don't recall, but there was RBIs out there for me. Doggone it, you can't get an RBI when they walk you.
Unless you're Bonds, they walk you with the bases loaded.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's Hairston. 12 intentional walks in 1984.
Okay. Was 9th in the league. Okay.
9th in the league.
Was there?
But you had 15 in 1985.
Thank you. Was that the most of my career, Dave? 19. What was the 19? I led the league.
1982
The
with the Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about that?
You were feared in multiple cities.
19's a lot, right?
Well, it's a lot, unless you're Bonds.
Right.
You got 125. I mean, it's just outrageous. I mean, Rosario out to talk to Francis. The intention to walk to right, now behind on Hairston 2-0. Bo McLaughlin keeping the counter on Francis, who threw 71 pitches in his last start, 5 innings against Miami on Friday, up to 53 pitches in the third inning tonight. You don't throw strikes with that 75 pitch limit, you're not going very far. Hairston pops one up, and Colvin retreats into foul ground to grab it, and that retires the side. A hit, an intentional walk, and 2 left. We go to the 4th with the Mets up 1-0. Major League start number 6 for Matt Harvey tonight, and it has started very well. No hits over the first 3 innings. He's walked 2 and struck out 5. Harvey looking for his 3rd win. Started the night with an ERA in the major leagues of an even 3. Jonathan Herrera, Dexter Fowler, and Carlos Gonzalez, 2, 3, and 4 in the Colorado batting order, up against Harvey in the 4th. And there you see that he has thrown predominantly fastball tonight.
Well, secondary pitches, only 9.
So over 80% fastballs, which is by far the highest percentage of fastballs he's thrown in any start. We'll see whether he mixes up more as the game goes along. Herrera struck out his first time up. Harvey struck out 2 in the first, then struck out the side in the second. Corners are in against Herrera and his speed, and he takes a strike.
Good inside fastball. Just got some zing on it. How about that, huh?
And that one was in Cholula territory.
So one in, one both corners, huh? Fastball in, fastball away. Don't have to throw a strike here. Another fastball away.
And Herrera late on that fastball.
That's a very defensive swing right there. So you can go in there and find out where he puts all his pots and pans in that kitchen. Oh, there it is. Oh, my word.
A flamethrower. 0-2. And the breaking ball at his feet. Ball on 2 strikes. Dexter Fowler waiting next. As Herrera leads off the 4th. Lining one over the head of Tejada. And the Rockies have their first hit of the night.
Well, there's the ball, a fastball he didn't locate, Gare.
So Herrera aboard to start the 4th. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin.
Kelly Shoppach getting acclimated nicely with his Mets pitching staff, or at least trying. Obviously thrown into the fire here, guys. He said, you know, what's actually helped is during even batting practice, I've had a couple instances where I've caught just short, flat ground sessions with a couple of guys just to give me the idea of what they throw, and that's been a big thing. And the guys have been great. They've all come up to me. We've chatted about the, you know, what they believe in their stuff, things like that. And it's been big. The only 2 guys I haven't caught yet, Chris Young and R.A. Dickey. And Gary, you talked about when he came over here, he has knuckleball experience, caught Wakefield a couple times, had another minor leaguer as well. And I said, you know, where's your knuckleball glove? And he said, well, it's at home in my barbecue closet. I said, excuse me, what? Barbecue closet? He said, listen, when you're brought up in Texas, barbecue is the thing. So, yeah, I have a closet. And you've got, you know, the grill tools. You've got the mosquito spray. You've got all kinds of stuff. And the knuckleball glove with a couple other gloves in there. Because, you know, a catch breaks out. Apparently a knuckleball catch breaks out at the barbecue back home.
Really?
Yes.
I thought maybe put it in the smoker. You know, just to age it.
Kev, did you take a shower or not brush your teeth today, or what?
I just figured.
You look very lonesome over there.
I sat down. Everybody dispersed.
Perhaps you can get some waitress service out there.
That would be nice.
Just for some company.
Bueller? Anyone?
1-1 to Dexter Fowler, who grounded out to first his first time up. Carlos Gonzalez waiting on deck. Rockies have their first hit of the night off Harvey. A leadoff single by Herrera, who continues to be a thorn in the Mets side. Fowler slashes one foul, and it's 1-2.
Keith, you were talking about Gonzalez last night, how much you liked about his swing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Specifically what? Why do you think it's so beautiful?
I love fluid swings and swings that the entire body works together. And same thing in pitching, too. Steve Carlton had that beautiful motion. Doc had that beautiful motion where the body all worked together, upper and lower body. And he's the old-fashioned type hitter.
Fowler tries to hold, and they say he did in time.
He's just, you know, you could just tell. Some guys just, you look at them and you just go, well, there's someone that's got it. And, you know, not everybody can have that kind of swing, that fluid swing, easy swing. It is. A lot of guys have to work a lot harder at it.
Prettiest swing you ever saw?
I'd have to say, William McCovey's one of them.
How about Ken Griffey Jr.?
He had a beautiful swing too. Yes, absolutely. And much like Carlos Gonzalez has a beautiful swing. There you go, up and in, jam him. That gets a hitter's attention.
Fowler having himself a breakout season, hitting over 300 from both sides of the plate.
Billy Williams had a beautiful swing too. Bill Buckner had a nice swing before his ankles went south on him.
Grounded toward the hole, and Fowler's got a base hit. Herrera racing first to third. Fowler takes a wide turn. The throw goes behind him, skips by Davis, and runners wind up at second and third. And Fowler looked like he hurt himself going into second base. Well, they took a very wide turn at first. Harrison threw behind him. Fowler turned on the Jets, hitting for second.
We'll take a look here. Changeup, which is not a good pitch to throw with Davis holding a runner on. He gets caught there. Now let's see where he hurts himself. Oh, he did not pick up.
Just pulling up.
He was looking to where the ball was and turned his ankle.
That's a shame. The Rockies have had so many devastating injuries this year. Helton and Tulowitzki and on, and now Fowler, who's had such a good year, turning that ankle.
Oh, there it goes. Ouch. He sprained it.
Well, he seems to be in considerable discomfort.
Is that going to be an E9 on the throw?
No, they're just saying fielder's choice, throwing behind him, because frankly, even if that throws on target, I don't think they get him at second, do you?
We'll take another look at it. We're taking a look at the injury. Oh, ouch.
Keeping that out.
Been there, done that. That reminds me of basketball.
I was just going to say that's my entire basketball career right there.
Just had to get my ankles taped all the time.
So Fowler's going to require assistance just to get off the field, and the Rockies lose yet another frontline player. What a year it's been for them. Coming into this series, Fowler was really the only guy in their lineup who had been there all year. They got Cargo back tonight, but now Fowler has to exit.
Well, here's a play from the overhead. We'll see, Gary, if we had a chance at second here. It's not a good pitch because Ike's got to hold the runner on, and you're giving a left-hander a chance to pop the hole, which he did nicely. So you want to stay away from that changeup. Now here's the throw in between Hop. Tough play for Davis, and we really can't tell if Fowler would have been safe at second. But again, Metnitsky's a ton last night, and here we go again.
Jordan Pacheco will come in to run for Fowler at second base. Pacheco, who has played a lot of third base but doesn't really have a particular position, was a catcher in the minors, so we'll see how they configure themselves. But boy, Fowler just unable to put any weight at all on that foot, and there are more steps to negotiate to get down to that clubhouse.
So that leaves him now with 2 men on his bench, Mr. Jim Tracy. Oh, I'm sorry, 3. That's right. They made a roster move.
So it's second and third and nobody out. Carlos Gonzalez steps in. A big mess for Matt Harvey to contend with. Struck out Gonzalez his first time up, and Cargo flies one foul down the left field line, out of play. 0-1. Gonzalez 20 home runs, 79 runs batted in, tied for 4th in the league in RBIs, 7th in on base percentage, 3rd in slugging, 6th in runs scored. Just having another tremendous year. In fact, you go back the last 3 seasons, 2010, 2011, and so far this year. You look at batting average, home runs, and RBIs.
Oh, right
good
by
fastball. Gonzalez over the last 3 years hitting .318, 80 home runs, and 288 RBIs. The only player in baseball with better numbers in all 3 categories is Miguel Cabrera.
Well, he
334, 99 homers, and 336 RBIs.
He struggled a little bit last year. He started chasing a lot of bad pitches and lost a little bit of his patience. But right back on this year.
Harvey needing a strikeout, and he gets it. Strike 3 call.
Yep.
Strikeout number 6 for Harvey, and a big one.
Fastball in. Beautiful pitch. That's got some mustard.
Gary Cederstrom giving him the call, just a little off the plate inside. So Harvey gets the first out of the inning. Now he could use another strikeout with Wheelan Rosario stepping in. Rosario struck out his first time up.
Well, this is all impressive here. This is all evaluating right now the guts of Matt Harvey. And he He doesn't knuckle under what I've seen thus far. I always thought that of John Neese and Dylan G. That's what I like about them, and that's what you want to find out about a pitcher. A guy can have great stuff, but boy, you put men on base and you can put them in a stretch, and some guys, they spit the bit. And you find out who doesn't and who does. And you've got 3 in G and Neese. Well, actually, even, I mean, just speaking about the youngsters here, because, you know, Dickey's the same way. You got to beat Dickey.
Loop, shallow center. On comes Torres to make the running grab. Tagging at third, Herrera heading home. And the throw comes up short, and that ties up the game. Sacrifice fly for Rosario, and the Rockies get even at 1.
Well, throwing on the run there, really can't get anything on it. He had double clutched and too much speed at third. Really would like to see him set up to throw. Get a little more on it. With throwing on the run, you're not going to have much on, but you're not going to get anybody. That ball was hit a little bit too deep. See the backhand catch. A little trouble getting it out, and that's why I think he just figured I better get rid of it as fast as I can and hope for the best.
Pinch runner Pacheco held at second. 2 out in the inning now, and Tyler Colvin the batter. Colvin struck out his first time up. So Rosario drives in his 50th run of the year. And that first pitch slider misses for ball 1.
Well, stop the bleeding here and get out of it with 1 run after second and third, nobody out. That would be success.
And Colvin takes a rip at a high fastball, 97. That had some life, 1-1.
They're not catching up to that fast one. Let me tell you, when he brings it like that, they're not catching up to it.
Well, that's what we saw in that first start in Arizona. A lot of high fastballs that the Diamondbacks chased. And the Rockies, a somewhat similar team to Arizona in that they do not allow those pitches to pass.
One.
A lot of flame throwing tonight from Harvey. There's another one.
You mentioned earlier Tom Seaver's in the house?
Yeah, Tom's here tonight.
Hey, Tom. I'm glad Tom's here because he's getting to watch this young man right here pitch with this golden arm.
And Colvin takes another rip at a fastball, and it's 2-2.
Don't even waste any time. He's got too long a swing. Just bring that cheddar. Got a long swing. You can't catch up to it. Throw him anything off speed, you're doing him a favor.
Colvin homered in the opening game of the series against R.A. Dickey on a knuckleball on Monday night. Two from Harvey. One more fastball, and he got a piece of that. Chris Nelson, the on-deck batter. The game in Washington's gone to the 4th inning. Still no score. Braves and Nats with Medlin and Detweiler hooking up. Harvey up to 70 pitches working in the 4th inning. He struck him out. Matt Harvey with his 7th strikeout. The Rockies get even. Couple of hits and a sacrifice fly. But Harvey strikes out Colvin to end it. Pinch Rand stays in the game at first base, and Tyler Colvin moves from first base to center field. Ike Davis leads off the home fourth in a tie game and takes a curveball from Jeff Francis for a strike. Davis struck out his first time up. Bay and Torres to follow for the Mets, who have a run on 3 hits. The Rockies a run on 2 hits. And another curveball to Davis and another strike. And Francis quickly ahead 0-2. Ike struck out his first time up. Jeff Francis has been a struggling pitcher. Gave up a double to Ruben Tejada to lead off the first inning. Held the Mets to 1 run in that inning and has been very impressive since. 2-2. And that curveball cued right back to Francis. 1 out. Let's check out our AT&T trivia question for tonight. The 4 Met pitchers to lead the National League in ERA.
Well,
a couple are obvious, but can you find the other 2? Here's Jason Bay, who struck out his first time, and the first pitch changeup swung and missed.
I think there's some unknown pitcher in there. I remember a guy you wouldn't even think that. I could be wrong.
You mean the Diego Segui type? Diego Segui once led the American League in ERA.
Do I want to think that, or was Pat Zachary with the Reds then when he had that 1 year where he was running for the ERA? I think. I'm not sure.
Well, Larry Dickey is in the mix for that honor this year. Larry starts the night 4th in the National League in ERA. Here's the 1-2 to Bay, and he strikes out again. 4th strikeout for Jeff Francis, 2nd time he's gotten his fellow Canadian.
Same pitch that got him the last time away.
So 2 out and nobody on. Francis with a chance for his first 1-2-3 inning as he takes on Andres Torres, who singled to left his first time up. Torres batting from his better side tonight. And a replay tonight. Torres had a .402 on base percentage right-handed, .295 left-handed. A stark difference. Grounded foul outside third, 0-2. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Scott's. Visit MLB.com/fanguide to register for a chance to win a VIP experience for 2 to a 2012 World Series game presented by Scott's, the official lawn care company of MLB. A ball and 2 strikes to Torres. Kelly Shopping would be next. Late swing grounder down to first. Pacheco handles it cleanly. A 1-2-3 inning for Francis, his first of the night. That sends us on to the 5th. Matt Harvey heads back to the mound. Mets and Rockies all tied up at 1. John Franco takes you back to his roots, where his dreams of pitching in his hometown began. The John Franco Hall of Fame special, presented by Parts Authority, Thursday at 7, only on SNY. Matt Harvey faces the Rockies, lower third of the order in the top of the 5th inning. Chris Nelson, DJ LeMahieu, and the pitcher Francis. Harvey didn't allow a hit over the first 3 innings, gave up a couple of singles to Herrera and Fowler in the 4th, limited the damage to 1 run. Nelson drew a walk leading off in the 3rd, then was erased on a double play. Chris Nelson, a guy that the Rockies have been waiting for. First-round draft pick out of high school in Georgia in 2004. But he's had a lot of things get in his way. Most recently this year, he was diagnosed with an irregular heartbeat and had to go on the disabled list for about 3 weeks. Just got back 2 weeks ago. There's a nice breaking ball for a strike, and it's 0-2.
More of a curve there. Took something off, 78 miles per hour.
He's got them both. He's got the curve and the slider. 0-2 to Nelson. And he threw him the slider away, and he held the swing. That's DJ LeMahieu waiting on deck. It's going to be fun watching that special on John Franco. John has so many great memories about growing up in New York and dreaming of being a Met. Of course, his professional career started out in the Dodgers organization. A lot of people don't remember that.
What was the trade the Mets made for him? Was it a trade?
It was Randy Myers.
That's right.
Straight up after the 1989 season.
Well, Randy Myers had a great career too.
Well, his first year after the trade, Cincinnati, he won the World Series as part of the Nasty Boys with Norm Charlton and Rob Dibble. But Franco had a long and meritorious career as not only the Mets all-time saves leader, but their captain as well. Something you two have in common. Another foul ball, and Nelson making Harvey work. Eighth pitch of the at-bat from Harvey to Nelson. And he misses away in a full count.
And he kind of overthrew that one. Came under it.
LeMahieu, the number 8 hitter, on deck. Harvey has walked 2 tonight. He's struck out 7. And Nelson hits it sharply. Beautiful diving stop by Wright, and he gets up and throws him out. Full layout by Wright, and he got it right in the webbing of the glove.
Well, we've said it all year. David has played the best third base of his career. And this is just, we've seen it all year. He has just been solid, outstanding play. And the throwing issues are over.
So 1 out on a Gold Glove caliber play, and now here's LeMahieu, who grounded hard into a double play his first time up, started by Tejada from the seat of his pants. LeMahieu has started all 3 games at second base in this series. The plan is when Troy Tulowitzki comes back, and again he's going to start rehab this weekend, might be back in a week to 10 days, maybe even less than that, that they'll move Josh Rutledge, who had been filling in for Tulowitzki, over to play second base. So the Rockies will be fortified in 2 spots at that point.
They need some pitching.
Well, they've got plenty of pitching on the disabled list. Jorge De La Rosa being the most prominent disabled starting pitcher. Here's a call strike, 2-1.
Nice 2-0 fastball, knees in black, outside corner.
They got Juan Nicasio sitting on the disabled list. They just got Jhoulys Chacin back last night. He looked terrific.
He looked good last night. He sure did.
And they have high hopes for Drew Pomeranz, who was the other pitcher they got in the Ubaldo Jimenez trade. And the Mets will not face Pomeranz in this series. So they've got some hope, but they've got to get people healthy. 3-1 from Harvey. And LeMahieu hits it out to right, and Hairston's right there. 2 out. Well, that John Franco special coming up on Thursday is a little piece of it. John talking about the day he was drafted by the Dodgers.
So I never forget, I ran home from Lincoln High School to the projects here. I came home, I ran up the steps, I didn't even wait for the elevator, and my dad was there and waited. I told him what happened. He was happy. Then we got the phone call, the official phone call. Next day the Dodgers came, I signed the contract, and I was on a plane 2 days later to Vero Beach.
Everybody has that same story.
It's a good story.
Mm-hmm. That was a story, obviously, that he got drafted, or did he sign? He got drafted.
Mm-hmm. Who needs high school? Go to Vero Beach. Start your career. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. 8 strikeouts for Matt Harvey over the first 5 innings. That'll take us halfway through. Mets and Rockies tied at 1 at Citi Field. Won the ERA title. Well, you know Seaver, you know Good, you know Santana. The one you probably forgot is Craig Swan.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Because, you know, Swan sometimes gets lost in the shuffle because he was the best pitcher on some really bad Mets teams in the late 70s and early 80s. Swan in that 1978 season had a 2.43 ERA to lead the league. Of course, Gooden has the best ERA in Mets history, 1.53 in that 24-4 season.
Swanee was a hard thrower, and he's got a Rolfing business, I believe, out in Connecticut. But at Greenwich, she's still in the area.
Kelly Shopping leads off in the home 5th inning. Kelly struck out his first time up. And how'd you do against Craig Swan?
I think I did okay.
Yeah, you did more than okay. 17 for 39, 436. No home runs, though.
Well,
wasn't your game.
How many RBIs?
4. Must have let off a lot of innings.
No. Swanee just lacked a level. Good breaking ball. He had a he wasn't consistent enough with it. He can throw you a helicopter with the best of them.
He could bring it, though.
He could bring it. There's no question about that. He can bring it.
Francis behind on Shopping 2-0. Francis starting to approach that not so magical 75 pitch limit. As you see, the game in DC has gone to the 5th. Detweiler and Medlin matching zeros there. That's a big game for the Braves if they want to stay in that division race. Even with a win, they're still 6 games back. If they lose, they're 8 games behind. Of course, the Braves still have command of the wild card chase. 3 games up on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's holding that second wild card spot, but that's getting more and more tenuous as the Pirates are starting to slip a little bit. Down 4-2 in San Diego in the 7th. They started the day just a half game in front of the Cardinals and the Dodgers for that second wild card spot. 2-2 to Shopping. And a high fly ball to center. Colvin is right there waiting. Colvin moved out to center when Fowler got hurt, makes the grab for the first out. Colvin's played 50 big league games in center field, so he's no stranger out there. So 1 out now. Harvey, who singled to right center his first time up. That is now a 400 big league hitter.
And he gets a nice round of applause.
Fans are going to get used to applauding this guy.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Hits another one hard through the hole, a base hit. Well, they're going to start pitching him a little tougher.
I think so.
Now 5 for 11. That makes him a 455 big league hitter.
Well, nothing wrong with this swing. Fastball down the middle. Don't you dare. Nice swing.
Well, you remember when Kevin had his dad on during that first game in Arizona. His dad Ed said, hey, he can hit. And he was right. He can hit.
Yes, he can.
Maybe not Clayton Kershaw, who's got 7 hits in his last 10 at bats, but not bad. Ruben Tejada comes up with 1 out and 1 on. Let's check in with Kevin.
I had a conversation with hitting coach Dave Hudgens on Tejada. I'm starting to think I should have had a conversation about Harvey with him as well, the way he's hitting. Unbelievable. But I asked Dave, what has impressed you the most about Tejada and his overall game this year? And he said, I think his maturity, especially for such a young age, has been impressive here. Trying to find a little hole, but not going to get that done. Mayhew gets out to make the catch. But, guys, he said, and it's nothing that we haven't seen, but Hudgens said, strike zone discipline, even though he's gotten away from it a little bit lately, his 2-strike approach is great. And, maybe he hasn't walked as much as you like, but really the goal is to get on base via hit, walk, however you can, and he's done a great job with that. So just extremely pleased, as you would imagine, with Tejada's first season so far. First full season, anyway.
Carlos Torres. Not Adam Ottavino, first man up in the Rockies bullpen. It would be a shame for Ottavino's family and friends who all came out tonight expecting to see him in relief. There's a curveball inside to Cedeno, 1-0. Ronnie's 0 for 2 tonight, twice as grounded out. With Harvey at first and 2 out. Francis falls behind 2-0. He is past the magical 75 pitch plateau that has ruled the Rockies pitchers over the last 2 months. Cedeno takes the changeup for a strike.
I guess it's good work if you can get it, huh? Minimum salary in baseball is what, over $400,000 a year? 5 and fly?
Line left field. Gonzalez will have to play it on a hop. And the Mets have 2 men on for David Wright. So Cedeno has his first hit of the night. Jim Tracy appears to be staying put. They walked Wright intentionally his first 2 times up, but going to have to pitch to him now with first and second and 2 out. Will McLaughlin, the pitching coach, looking on. They've allowed Francis to get up to 78 pitches, and they're going to let him throw a few more against a guy who has owned him, 6 for 12 with 3 home runs. So a big spot in this ball game as Wright tries to get the Mets the lead with 2 out and 2 on. Man, Wright has a big cut at that first pitch fastball.
Good cut by David right there. Just under it. Right down the middle. Boy, he'd like to have that one back.
85 at bats without a home run. Looking for number 200.
What was it with Gary Carter when he was playing? Was it his 300th home run?
300th.
That took him so long?
3 months.
3 months to get.
Now, he was hurt part of that time, but still.
He played a lot.
Got it at Wrigley Field.
Right, I remember that. What year was that, you recall?
85.
Okay.
Here's the 1-1. And it's taken low, 2-1. Carlos Torres continues to loosen in the bullpen.
Tarzan.
Foghorn. 2-1 coming to right, and David grounds one at shortstop, and Herrera will go the short way to get the force, and that ends the inning. So the Mets strand a pair. We're through 5 now at Citi Field, tied at 1. Series. Colin McHugh makes his big league debut for the Mets. Tyler Chatwood goes for the Rockies. 1 o'clock start here at Citi Field tomorrow. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt, who is out in the Mo zone. Kevin.
Well, Colin McHugh, it should be fun to watch him pitch tomorrow. You know, I've talked to scouts about him, and Dylan G is the name that's come up about a guy, you know, and mainly because he doesn't blow you away with a fastball, but he's got some personality. He had some fun today talking with the media, and then I spent some time with him afterward. He's a kid who grew up on the north side of Atlanta, and so it was funny. He said when he got drafted, his friend said, "We are so excited you got drafted, but now we have to hate you." Of course, they were all Braves fans, but he said, you know, it's been a fun ride. I've seen every stop along the way that the Mets have had to offer, and he has some experience in big league parks. You know, he's pitched in Fenway twice, and he said, you know, it has helped actually pitching there. It was kind of cool, but it's funny. You look at the backstop, and then you look up, and then you look up, but looking at that extra level, he feels will kind of help him out there tomorrow. It should be fun. His wife on the way, parents and family on the way from Atlanta, too.
Well, it's going to be great for McHugh, who started out his year in Binghamton, made 12 starts there, moved up to Buffalo, 12 more starts there, and as you see, despite the 1-loss record, his numbers are terrific this season.
Well, the walks are impressive.
The scouts will tell you that his changeup is not what Dylan G's is, but he probably has better curveball than Dylan does. But like G, he'll throw all 4 pitches, and he relies on precision within the strike zone. 25 years old, and he looked like he belonged in that clubhouse today. He wasn't hiding.
Exciting.
Went to Berry College in Rome, Georgia. Charlie Blackmon takes a swing and a miss, and it's 2-2.
So keep pouring that heater on Blackmon. He's got a long swing. He's not going to catch up to it. Don't even waste time.
It's been a fastball night for Matt Harvey. He's already struck out 8. Pitch count a little higher than he'd like, up to 92, working in the 6th. And Blackmon drives one to center, getting turned around as Torres, but he gets back to find it. So he threw him a 2-2 curveball, and Blackmon drilled it, and Torres makes the catch.
Well, the hanging curve gave him a chance to catch up to it. Nice play, instantly read by Torres. Good break on it, and makes it a routine play.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jonathan Herrera, who singled to left and scored the Rockies' only run in the 4th. He's 1 for 2.
Right in the middle of things again.
Corners in against the speedster, and he takes a strike. The outfield playing very shallow against Herrera, particularly Torres in center field. By the way, in the last inning, we were talking about Gary Carter's pursuit of his 300th home run, and I think I said it was 85. That's a nice play in the hat. That's hard to do. Look at that. Right in the webbing of the hat.
There's more than one way to skin a rabbit.
That's very nice.
Nicely done, sir.
And the breaking ball in there. Strike 3 called. Herrera down looking. 9 strikeouts now for Harvey. Let's check in with Gary Apple. He's standing by with this game break. Meanwhile, Atlanta's taken a 2-0 lead on Washington. Martin Prado with a 2-run double in the 5th. In a big game for the Braves. Here's Jordan Pacheco up for the first time. Pinch ran for Dexter Fowler when he turned his ankle in the 4th inning and stayed in at first base. There's that score in Washington.
That is a critical game for Atlanta to win up there in the nation's capital.
Into right center, and Pacheco's got himself a base hit. Just the 3rd of the night off Matt Harvey. A 2-out hit for Pacheco, and that'll get Carlos Gonzalez to the plate with a man on. Anyway, we were talking about Carter and his 300th home run, and it took him 3 months to get there. It was not 1985, it was 1988.
That's what, okay.
When Kid got his 300th, August 11th of that year at Wrigley. His 299th came May 16th.
Well, don't think that we weren't on him for quite a while. It's like, when are you going to do this? We're on him all the time.
Sure, he handled it with grace.
Oh, it was all part of the needling of the clubhouse.
Gonzalez has been up twice and struck out both times against Harvey, swinging in the 2nd, looking in the 4th. Oh, the 100th pitch of the night is a curveball that just missed.
I didn't think that one missed. I thought that was a strike.
Action just beginning in the Mets bullpen, with Harvey now at 100 pitches for the night. Threw just 89 in his last start. And he falls behind Gonzalez 2-0.
Well, I know it's 100 pitches. And it's not affecting the velocity of his fastball. He's a horse.
Ramon Ramirez up in the Mets bullpen. Well, they're being protective of Harvey. They're going to have an innings limit on him, somewhere around 170 this year. It's sharply, but right at Cedeno. And he makes the play, and Gonzalez side retires. So 6 very strong innings for Matt Harvey. A 1-1 game in the 6th at Citi Field. Shaking the hand of Matt Harvey, so he's done after 6 innings tonight.
Boy, I know how things are today, but I'd sure like to see him go out there, get a win.
Well, he's got a chance for a win if the Mets can get him a run in the bottom of the 6th inning against the Rockies bullpen. Right-hander Carlos Torres comes on in relief of Jeff Francis.
Well, the veteran Torres, he actually pitched for the Yomiuri Giants in 2011 and made 6 starts over there in Japan.
There you see the line on Harvey, a run on 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, adding to his already impressive total. That's 43 strikeouts in 36 innings for Harvey in his 6 big league starts. No Met pitcher has had more in their first 6 big league appearances. Here's Scott Hairston leading off. Hairston drove in the only Met run with a sacrifice fly in the first inning. Jeff Francis went 5 innings, allowed a run on 5 hits, 2 intentional walks, and 4 strikeouts. So a no decision game for Francis tonight. And Torres fires one outside. 2-0. Hairston, Davis, and Bay for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. Bounced down to third, and Nelson on the back end makes the long throw, and nicely handled by Pacheco for the first out. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Ike Davis, who was struck out and hit a comebacker against Francis, now gets to face the right-hander Torres. And Torres misses with a curveball. Torres is the rare right-hander who works from the extreme third base side of the rubber. Almost looks like he's pitching from third base. Not used to seeing that.
Got a little funky delivery. Big shoulder lift, front shoulder up high, hides the ball, not overpowering.
Had some cups of coffee with the White Sox in 09 and 2010. Now he falls behind on Davis 3-0. Carlos Torres, born in Santa Cruz, California.
Not far from where I grew up. Just a little bit, around an hour and a half down the coast.
And he walks Davis on 4 pitches. And so the Mets have a 1-out base runner in the 6th with Jason Bay coming up. Bay batted twice against Francis, struck out both times. Philadelphia, Jay Bruce just hit his 26th home run, so the Reds lead the Phillies 3-1. Reds started the day with a 7.5 game lead over the Pirates as they continue to pull away. Bay takes one low for ball 1. Meanwhile, Bronson Arroyo's allowed just 1 hit in 7 innings in that game. The only hit, a home run by Dominic Brown. And Bay pops it up. Pacheco waiting for it to come down. And that's the 2nd out. So 2 out. Davis still at first. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. So 2 out, and now we get not Spy versus Spy, but Torres versus Torres.
Did you like the white Spy or the black Spy?
You know, I couldn't decide.
Neither could I.
They both had their evil side and their human side.
That was great about those cartoons.
Talking about Mad Magazine, if you're not an aficionado, that was a must. Mad Magazine.
Yes.
Because if you didn't read Mad Magazine, how would you ever know about Roger Kaputnik?
Well, I didn't care about Roger Kaputnik. I just went right to Spy versus Spy. It was a very peculiar magazine, was it not?
It was great. The lighter side of Alfred E. Newman on the cover.
Of course. What a mullion he was.
The movie spoofs, those were great.
Yes. There was so much going on in those magazines.
Yeah, the little stuff in the margins. Little dribbler that goes foul. Still 1-2 to Torres. Andres 1 for 2 tonight at a base hit in the 2nd. No relation to Carlos. Ramon Ramirez up in the Mets bullpen. Mets offense has been in brownout for the last few weeks. In fact, each of the last 4 games now, the Mets have scored no more than 2 runs. That's their longest stretch of the year, scoring no more than 2. Last time they've had 5 straight games scoring no more than 2. You got to go back to 2003. So they are in a funk right now. 2-2. And Torres strikes out Torres, and the inning is over. First strikeout for Carlos Torres. We go to the 7th, tied at 1. to the 7th.
Well, he's been kind of picking it up lately. He was the big man in that trade, and it's been a disappointing year from Ramon. He was a key guy in that bullpen, and he was kind of penciled in for that handing off to the closer, but he was ineffective the first half of the year, but pitching much better in the second because he's throwing more of his fastball and throwing more inside.
Pitched in the opening game of the series, struck out the only man to face him. Wheelan Rosario leads off in the 7th. So it's a no decision game for Matt Harvey. He goes 6, allows a run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, and through 6 big league starts, Harvey's ERA is now 2.75. Very, very impressive. Rosario drove in the only run for the Rockies tonight with a sacrifice fly in the 4th. Tyler Colvin and Chris Nelson to follow for Colorado in the 7th. And a high fly ball hit to left. Over toward the corner goes Bay near the wall, and it's out of here.
Oh boy.
Wheelan Rosario clearing the fence for his 20th home run of the year. And the Rockies go in front 2-1. Well, that did not appear as though it was going to be a home run off the bat, but Rosario very strong. And it carried out to left for his 20th home run in his rookie season.
Well, he lets it rip. He gets a fastball. He wanted away. Right down the middle and up. Bay runs out of room.
So Wheelan Rosario continuing to burnish his credentials in the Rookie of the Year race. And the Rockies jump in front for the first time tonight. And Tyler Colvin takes ball 1. Colvin was up twice against Harvey and struck out both times.
Well, it looks like Ramirez is going okay. What's that getting out of here for? Are you kidding? No, he looked at the flags now. First the hitter, then the flags.
It's not all that much of a breeze tonight. It's the 4th home run Ramirez has allowed this year. But Rosario provided enough power to get it out of the yard. 2-1 now to Tyler Colvin. And he takes upstairs, and Ramirez behind 3-1. Here's the good changeup, 3-2. Well, the Rockies are a home run hitting team, but they hit a whole lot more at home than they do on the road. They've hit 2 in this series. That gives them 51 home runs on the road, 78 at Coors Field, and they average more than 2 runs per game more at home than they do on the road. Still 3-2 on Colvin, the former Cub. Well, the Pirates lost again tonight in San Diego, 4-2. 3 RBIs for Carlos Quentin. So Pittsburgh teetering. Either the Cardinals or Dodgers could pass them in that wild card chase tonight. One-handed down the left field line. Bay coming over. It'll drop for a base hit. Colvin heads for second. Bay's throw in on a hop, but not in time. Well, Colvin threw one hand with the bat at the ball, and he winds up with a 2-base hit. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Acura Advance, by Burger King. Come play family food where every game piece has a prize, and by the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. Dan Worthen out to talk to Ramon Ramirez, who's given up a home run and a double. Before he goes after Chris Nelson. Robert Carson, who appeared last night after being called up, is up again in the Mets bullpen alongside Manny Acosta. Carson was added to the roster when Jeremy Hefner went on paternity leave, and He'll be back this weekend.
Oh boy.
Now that's your real mohawk.
I just don't think I'd allow that.
Let's look for the bunt from Nelson, but he's set to swing and he takes inside.
Not that it's terrible.
No, it's all a matter of taste.
I would just say, son, wait till you're in college.
And then what happens?
Do whatever you want. You're on your own.
Let's continue to look for the bunt, and Nelson not in bunting mode. By the way, Jeremy Hefner and his wife Sarah, proud parents of a new baby daughter this morning.
Congratulations.
Jaylee Grace arrived at 11:55 a.m. 8 pounds 14 ounces. Their second child. And Jeremy will be back Friday and will start Sunday against the Astros. Mets aren't quite sure what they're going to do with their rotation, whether it's going to be a 5 or a 6-man rotation now with Santana out. Colin McHugh is going to make the start tomorrow, but it might just be a 1-start deal for him, and then the Mets might go back to a 5-man rotation. But September 1st is not all that far away. Rosters expand, and I'm not quite sure exactly what they're going to do now. That's Will Harris up in the Colorado bullpen now. Haven't seen him yet in this series. Ramirez ahead 1-2. And Nelson fouls it back. If you were not around earlier today, Johan Santana had an MRI on his back. It revealed inflammation to the point where the doctors prescribed rest, medication, and a little bit of exercise. And the Mets put him on the disabled list and are shutting him down for the season. To the right side, Cedeno waiting for it. And he throws out Nelson. That's the first out. So a productive out, moves Colvin over to third. There was a lot of conversation about what happened to Santana this year. And part of that conversation was about whether the 134 pitches that he threw in his no-hitter on June the 1st was responsible for what ultimately befell him this year. The problem with that scenario is that Johan made a couple of poor starts after the no-hitter and then came back and pitched awfully well to the end of June.
Mets bringing the infield in, of course, here in the 7th. Don't want to fall behind any further.
DJ LeMahieu is 0 for 2, grounded into a double play and flying to right. Well, those are the numbers before and after the no-hitter. But again, if you take the segment immediately after the no-hitter, a couple of bad starts, then 3 good starts, including 8 scoreless innings against the Dodgers at the end of June. So it's hard to make the argument that A led to B. I think it's a lot easier to make the argument that once he got stepped on at first base by Reed Johnson, everything went downhill. I mean, that start immediately after he got the ankle stepped on, he had a miserable inning. He wound up going on the disabled list to rest that ankle. Squeeze play is on. The bunt is down by LeMahieu, and Ramirez overruns the ball, and everybody's safe. A run is in, and it's 3-1. Suicide squeeze. Colvin was on his way, and LeMahieu got it down, and the Rockies steal a run.
Well, nicely executed. Nice play. They had caught the Mets flat-footed completely by surprise. And deadens it enough right in front. And there was no chance at home.
At that point, you're better off picking that ball up and throwing it to first base, aren't you?
Yes. But his back's to the play. Ramirez's back's to the play, and it's up to the catcher to let him know where to throw the ball.
I mean, even if he had successfully swiped that with the glove toward home, I don't think there was any chance they were throwing out Colvin.
No.
Here's Carlos Torres up to bat.
So that's a fielder's choice, sack.
Sack, fielder's choice, RBI for LeMahieu on the suicide squeeze. And so the Rockies have scored twice here in the 7th and lead at 3-1. There goes the runner. The bunt is along the line and goes foul. LeMahieu was on his way. I don't know if somebody missed a sign there or if that was supposed to be a run and bunt.
Someone ran on his own. I can see the bunt.
But is run and bunt ever a good play?
No, that's just the runner. LeMahieu pulled a rock head.
Torres has a hit this year, 1 for 3. Gives himself up as Ramirez throws to first. Well, pitchers' fielding continues to be an issue in this series. It has been in all 3 games. The Josh Edgin error on Monday night that led to the go-ahead run. The Chris Young throwing error and the Bobby Parnell failure to cover on the rundown last night. And now Ramirez failing to get an out on that suicide squeeze.
And with an offense, a Met offense that needs runs like they need rain in the Midwest, you know, you haven't got a margin for error.
Well, it certainly got the manager's attention last night after he got ejected from the game in the 5th inning and spent the rest of the game watching on TV. As Torres gets that bunt down nicely and Ramirez goes to first with it. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving LeMahieu to second. He was pretty strong in his words after the game last night, talking about how his teams do not play that way. Well, they pay attention to detail.
Well, you know, a team played as poorly as that was the most poorly played game by a Met team under skipper Terry Collins in his tenure so far.
Robert Carson will come out of the bullpen. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Win Mets memorabilia from Verizon at Mets.com/Verizon Sweeps. To take advantage of new low pricing and see every remaining Mets out of market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Robert Carson in for the 2nd straight night to face Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon had a double against Carson last night.
Carson split the season at Binghamton and Buffalo. ERAs in both places under 2. Had a tough time up here, but shoot, 3 1/3 innings, that's hardly any test.
A couple of outings in May and then another last night. And Blackmon with a late swing foul ball, and it's 0-2. Blackmon's 0 for 3 tonight, but he's hit the ball hard his last 2 at bats, lining out to short and lining out to center field. Ramon Ramirez went 2/3 of an inning. He's given up 2 runs and 2 hits so far. Rockies grabbing the lead here in the 7th after Matt Harvey exited in a tie game. Carson ahead 0-2 and throws the slider off the plate. 1-2 to Blackmon. Foul back in our direction. Almost got to Al, the cameraman.
I didn't even see it. I was looking at the monitor.
Al was bailing out, thinking his camera might be in jeopardy. I saw him cringe, didn't you?
Well, Al's good at that, cringing.
Usually when we tell him jokes. And Blackmon hooks one to right center. Over comes Hairston to make the running grab. And that retires the side. But the Rockies take the lead. Willian Rosario leading off the 7th inning with a towering home run against Ramon Ramirez that cleared the left field wall. 20th of the year for the rookie catcher. Rockies up 3-1 in the 7th inning stretch. Bottom of the 7th inning. Kelly Shoppach will lead off against Carlos Torres. Shoppach 0 for 2 tonight. He struck out and fly to center. Daniel Murphy on deck to pinch hit, and then Ruben Tejada in the bottom of the 7th. Torres beginning his 2nd inning of work. He pitched a hitless 6th inning. Contributed a sacrifice bunt and now stays on for the 7th. And he gets it over for a strike, 0-1. In Texas tonight, the Rangers just scored 9 runs in the 4th inning. In that 9-run 4th inning, Adrian Beltre hit 2 home runs, his 2nd and 3rd of the night. So Beltre has 3 home runs in the first 4 innings of that game for Texas. Mitch Moreland also had a grand slam in that 9-run inning, and Texas up 10-1 on Baltimore as they go to the 5th. So that means Beltre will get at least 2 cracks.
What's wrong with the scoreboard up there?
4th home run.
Are they wrong on the scoreboard?
I'm sorry?
Are they wrong on the scoreboard? It's 11-0 Baltimore.
That's incorrect.
It says 11-0 Baltimore.
That's a boo-boo.
Hey, boo-boo.
Fly ball by Shoppach out to right field, and Blackmon is there for the first out. 1 out and nobody on. Geico Sports Night, the only show that's only New York sports. tonight after the post-game show. We'll take an in-depth look at the wild card races, see if the Jets can get themselves a running game, and Giants injury news as well on Geico Sports Night tonight after the post-game, only on SNY. By the way, Adrian Beltre had never had a 3-home run game in the regular season, but he does have a 3-home run game in the postseason. That's rare. Not too many guys have hit 3 home runs in a postseason game. Matt Reynolds is the left-hander. Will Harris the right-hander in the Colorado bullpen. Let's see, who's hit 3 home runs in a postseason game? Babe Ruth did it. Bob Robertson did it. Adam Kennedy did it.
Well, Reggie Jackson.
And there's got to be one more with Beltre, because there have been 6.
In a World Series or a playoff?
No, postseason game.
Didn't Reggie do it twice?
Oh, George Brett. That's the guy we forgot.
Didn't
LeMahieu throws out Murphy for the second out.
Did Reggie Jackson do it? Did 3 home runs against Baltimore when they lost? No?
Ruth did it twice. He's the only guy who did it more than once. So 2 up and 2 quickly set aside by Torres after the Rockies grabbed the lead. And now Ruben Tejada, who's 1 for 3, led off the first inning with a double and scored the only Met run. He was driven in on a Scott Hairston sacrifice fly. Mets need some kind of an offensive spark from somebody.
Who?
Well, that's the hard part, because when the Mets were successful this year, I mean, think about it. The first half of the year, the Mets were in the top 3 or 4 in runs scored the whole first half. And the way they did that was drawing a lot of walks and stringing together a lot of singles and doubles. This has not been a home run hitting team all year. They're 12th in the National League in home runs. Even with their current struggles, they're still in the top half of the league in runs scored. But they haven't been very menacing of late.
And their clutch hitting, particularly all the 2-out runs they scored, Gare, which is still up there in the tops. Their clutch hitting has dropped too. They're not driving in runs like they did that first half.
No question. Hit hard, and the shortstop Herrera has got it on 1 hop and throws out Tejada. 1, 2, 3 go the Mets in the bottom of the 7th. game this year. Josh Hamilton did it earlier this season, so perhaps that rare feat could be accomplished twice by that ball club in the same season. Changes for the Mets. Daniel Murphy stays in the game at second base. Ronnie Cedeno moves from second to shortstop. Ruben Tejada comes out, and the new pitcher Josh Edgin will hit in the number 1 spot in the batting order.
Well, Josh pitched in the first game of this series and got the loss on that bunt up the line by Jonathan Herrera that got things going, and he threw the ball into right field, or shoveled the ball off his glove into right field. That opened up the floodgates for that loss.
So perhaps he should be wary of the bunt, with Herrera leading off in the 8th inning against him this time. And he takes up and away for ball 1. Herrera 1 for 3, singled and scored the first Colorado run in the 4th inning. Continues to be a thorn in the Mets side. 3 for 10 in this series. Each team with 5 hits tonight. But the Rockies got a go-ahead home run from Willen Rosario, and then a squeeze bunt by DJ LeMahieu to score 2 in the 7th off Ramon Ramirez. Edgin quickly behind 2-0 on Herrera, and pours a fastball in for a strike. Jordan Pacheco is hitting 3rd in the order. Remember, he took over for Dexter Fowler, who left with a sprained ankle, and then Carlos Gonzalez behind him. Old foul by Herrera, and it's 2-2. Herrera is hitting just 158 as a right-hand batter, which made it curious on Monday night that he opted to bat right-handed against R.A. Dickey. You've seen a lot of switch hitters do that, bat right-handed against a knuckleballer, but you would not expect that from a guy who is not a very good right-hand batter. Matt Harvey went 6 tonight, allowed a run on 3 hits, walked 2, and struck out 9. Matt, through 6 major league starts, has 43 strikeouts, most that any Met has ever had through his first 6 appearances. 43 strikeouts in 36 innings and a 2.75 ERA. Impressive numbers indeed. Herrera pops one up. Shopping coming back, and right at the screen. It's beyond his reach.
So you mentioned earlier, Gare, a big game up there in Washington. Chris Medlin, who's pitched so well for the Braves, and there's Manny Acosta up in the bullpen for the Mets. And he's got a shutout through 6. It's a big game for Atlanta. They're winning 2-0.
Well, they're trying to ride Chris Medlin to yet another win. We mentioned earlier they've won 16 straight that Medlin has started, which is phenomenal for a guy who is really their 6th starter. Well, he has, when healthy, given the Braves quite a boost. And he's working on a shutout tonight. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Jonathan Herrera. And he got him. So Edgin wins the battle this time from Herrera. 1 down in the 8th.
Little cutter. Fished for a bad one.
So now Jordan Pacheco, who's singled to right center and is only at bat in the 6th. By the way, we were talking about the chance for Adrian Beltre to hit 4 home runs in a game tonight, and he'll have at least 2 cracks at it with 3 home runs in the first 4 innings. No team has ever had 2 players hit 4 home runs in a game in the same season. In fact, only once in Major League history has it happened in baseball that 2 players have had 4 home runs in a game in the same season. That happened back in 2002. Wright backs off the ground ball and makes the long throw to get Pacheco for the 2nd out. In 2002, 2 guys who would later play for the Mets, Mike Cameron playing for Seattle and Shawn Green playing for the Dodgers, each had 4 home runs in a game that year. It's only been done 16 times in Major League history. It's less frequent than a perfect game. 4 home runs in a game. What was Felix Hernandez's, the 23rd perfect game? Yep. What's amazing about that now is that there have been 6 in the last 4 years. Carlos Gonzalez 0 for 3 in his return to the lineup and has to bend out of the way.
Well, let's take a look at Gonzalez here after that up and in under your chin fastball and see if he stays in. These are the little things you look for.
He is a long way from the plate, isn't he? He breaks his bat. Little bloop for right. And that retires the side. So Edgett gets him 1-2-3 in the top of the 8th. Mets still down 3-1. Catch the game in the SNY Suite at Citi Field on September 12th. All proceeds will benefit the high school basketball teams playing in the 2013 SNY Invitational. Bid today at sny.tv/charity auction. Promise to be nice to the people.
Yeah, you notice how gray I got so quickly? I had no gray there.
Yeah. So are you going to do anything about that?
Just happened all of a sudden.
Ronnie Cedeno up against Carlos Torres starting the bottom of the 8th. Torres working on his 3rd inning of relief now. He's held the Mets without a hit for the first 2. Cedeno's 1 for 3 on the night. Single to left in the 5th inning. And he hits this one to center. Colvin coming over and makes the running grab. 1 away. So Cedeno's retired. 1 out and nobody on, and David Wright comes up. David was intentionally walked each of his first 2 plate appearances. Then, with 2 out and 2 on in the 5th, they had to pitch to him, and Jeff Francis got him to ground into a fielder's choice. So David's 0 for 1 on the night. That was the last batter Francis faced. He went 5, allowed a run on 5 hits. Torres is the pitcher of record on the long side. Now with 2 1/3 hitless innings under his belt. This is a Rockies team that has given up the most hits, the most home runs, and the 3rd most walks of any staff in the National League. Francisco gets up in the Mets bullpen. Another ground ball to shortstop. Another chance for Herrera, and there are 2 out. The Mets in this series have scored 4 runs on 17 hits in almost 26 innings. So against a pitching staff that is the worst in the league by far, the Mets have not been able to get anything going. Here's Hairston, who drove in the only run with a sacrifice fly back in the first. Since then, he's popped up and grounded out. 0 for 2. Series finale coming up at Dodger Stadium tonight. The Giants took the first 2 games of the series with LA and now lead by a game and a half out west. And it's Matt Cain going for the sweep tonight against Chris Capuano.
And the series prior to that, when they played each other, it was in San Francisco. The Dodgers beat them, I think, 2 out of 3, correct?
Didn't they shut them out 3 games in a row?
It was a sweep, so it's a reverse. Can't win in your own backyard.
Line drive left field. Over goes Gonzalez. It's over his head and off the base of the wall. Another bullet off the bat of Hairston, and he moves into second base with a 2-out double.
Well, Rip City. He continues to rake. Hanging slider. Goes down and gets it. And that's an easy dub right there. And that's going to bring in the left-hander to face Davis.
So Hairston with the 2-out double. Mets get the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the 8th. Jim Tracy heads to the mound. He's got Matt Reynolds, the lefty, up in the bullpen, and he'll bring him in here to face Ike Davis. Pitching change for the Rockies. We'll be right back. Out of the Colorado bullpen for the second straight night.
Well, he pitched last night, Gare. Gave up a double to Valdespin, who wound up scoring. See both sides hitting 282. Lefties against him. Righties 287.
Davis has had 2 at-bats against the lefty Francis tonight. Struck out and hit a comebacker against the right-hander Torres. He walked on 4 pitches. Tying run at the plate in a 3-1 game. And Ike lays off the breaking ball from Reynolds. Ball 1.
Reynolds likes his slider.
The Reds held on to beat the Phillies 3-2. Bronson Arroyo 8 strong for the win. Cincinnati now 8.5 up on Pittsburgh. Line shot right center, base hit. That'll bring in Hairston and make it a 1-run game. Ike Davis gets the base hit off the lefty to drive in a run. It's now 3-2 Colorado.
He gets his fastball here. Laid off the first slider. Nice hitting. Stayed in. Ripped.
The Mets 238th two-out run this year, the most in the majors. That'll be the only batter Matt Reynolds faces. They'll bring in the right-hander to face Jason Bay, and we'll probably see a pinch hitter, either Baxter or Valdespin, to bat for Bay. We'll be right back to Citi Field. Colorado.
Well, Harris hasn't been in too many games yet. As you can see, only 5 1/3. He made his major league debut in Milwaukee. Against Milwaukee on the 13th of this month, and allowed 3 runs on 2 hits.
Jordani Valdespin will bat for Jason Bay. Mets have scored a run here in the 8th. A 2-out double by Hairston. Davis drove him in to make it 3-2. So now Davis the tying run at first with 2 out. So Bay leaves for a pinch hitter after going 0 for 3 tonight. It's been a struggle for Valdespin lately. He had a double last night, just 1 for his last 14.
Well, this is Valdespin where he excels in the pinch hitting role.
5 pinch hit home runs this year, already a Mets club record. And the first pitch curveball pops out of Rosario's mitt. No advance by Davis. Harris had trouble before he even got into the game. He banged into the fence post of the bullpen as he tried to run in. So he might be a little off kilter. And you see the pinch hitting numbers for Jordani.
Very deep outfield play right now defensively. Good pitch right there.
Valdespin takes that fastball for a strike.
Look how deep the center field is. I know you want no doubles here. It's correct. But prior, with Ike Davis up, they weren't playing as deep as this.
Harris with that very high set. And the fastball just missed. Mike Baxter out on deck to bat for Andres Torres. If Valdespin can keep the inning going.
Valdespin got a close pitch right there.
Harris has pretty good control. 52 minor league innings this year, only 13 walks. Davis, very little speed at first. And Valdespin fouls back that fastball, and it's 2-2. 27-year-old Will Harris out of LSU in just his 5th big league game. Makes Valdespin seem like a grizzled vet. Two coming, and the breaking ball struck him out. So Will Harris fans Valdespin, and the Mets leave the tying run aboard. They get a little closer on Davis's RBI single. 3-2 going to the 9th. Changes for the Mets. Scott Hairston moves from right field to left field. Jordani Valdespin, after pinch hitting, stays in right, and Frank Francisco comes in to get an inning of work.
Well, there's Frankie right there, and he needs some work, and he just hasn't had any save situations. This has been, the wins have been tough to come by.
It's been 4 days since Francisco went to the mound. Pitched a 1-2-3 inning in Washington his last time out. Trying to keep this a one-run game is Willen Rosario, who gave the Rockies the lead in the 7th inning with his 20th home run of the year. Leads off in the 9th. Rosario, in fact, has driven in 2 of the 3 Rockies runs today. Also had a sacrifice fly. So now 20 home runs, 51 RBIs for Rosario, who's only had 265 at bats. And a little number. Francisco off the mound, bobbles, recovers, and makes the play on Rosario. More entertainment from the Mets pitchers trying to field.
Well, that's those little sidewinders. They're always difficult.
All's well that ends well. Rafael Betancourt, the Rockies closer, getting ready in the bullpen as Tyler Colvin will step in. Colvin hit a fly ball double down the left field line his last time up, and came in to score the run that right now is the difference in this game. He came in on a suicide squeeze. Well, the game in Washington has gone to the 8th. Still Braves 2, Nats nothing. 7 scoreless innings for Chris Medlin. What a godsend he's been. His ERA is now under 2 for the year.
Yeah, he's pitched great. Remember, he had that surgery a couple years ago.
And the Tommy John. In fact, it was the Mets against whom he pitched his last game before he got hurt. Came back late last year and now is a fixture in that Braves rotation as they go with 6 men in their rotation for the moment. And a broken bat toward the middle into center field, a base hit for Colvin. So Colvin, who had a one-handed double his last time up, this time a broken bat single. 1 out and 1 on. Let's check in with the studio. Gary Apple and Bobby Ojeda standing by to let us know what's coming up on WB Mason Postgame Live. All right, guys, we'll hear from you later. Right now, Chris Nelson bats with 1 out and 1 on in the top of the ninth. Nelson 0 for 2 and a walk today.
2 stolen bases in this series for Colvin, so keep an eye on him over there.
Stole second and third last night in the 7th inning.
And this would be a good time to try to attempt a steal and get in scoring position.
Well, Mike Breen is a great basketball announcer and a huge Mets fan. And he gets good seats, apparently.
He should.
There goes the runner. Double clutch by Shopik. Throws it into center field, and Colvin will go to third. Now, Shopik never should have thrown that ball after double clutching, and then he compounded the error by throwing it away.
Yeah, but it's tough to tell a catcher not to throw on a stolen base, and you got to hold the guy close. Oh, a double. You're right, Gary. The double clutch. Hang on to it.
So a stolen base for Colvin, his 3rd of the series, his 7th of the year. Error on Shopik, moving him to 3rd, and now the infield has to come in with a 1-strike count to Nelson. And it's flared over the infield, a base hit, and that brings an insurance run for Colorado. So Colvin, setting the stage with the stolen base, comes in to score the insurance run for the Rockies, and it's 4-2. Chris Nelson with his 31st RBI.
Little inside out, wants the ball away, and it's going to be in, and he just inside outs it to right field. Nice hitting. Base hit's all that's necessary. That's a big insurance run. And be alive for a stolen base attempt here too.
DJ LeMahieu drove in a run with a suicide squeeze bunt in the 7th. 0 for 2, and there goes Nelson. It's fouled back. Are you stealing signs?
What's going on here? Am I the only guy here that's bright? That's got any kind of ESP?
Feel for the game? Well, we've known all season that Frank Francisco does not like to throw to first base. You see even there, he balked. Tried to step off and fake a throw, but he's called for the balk by the first base umpire Lance Barksdale. No argument from Terry Collins. It's a crimp in Frankie's game. He just does not like to throw to first. And
he didn't step off.
He did not. So now another runner in scoring position for the Rockies. A 1-strike count on LeMahieu. And he lines that one to left, but right at Hairston, who's there for the out. Throw back to second, but Nelson able to get back safely. So LeMahieu hit it hard, but right at Hairston for the second out. So 2 out and a runner at second. Now Josh Rutledge will be the pinch hitter. Rutledge has been battling a quad injury, which is why he has not started in this series. He appeared as a pinch hitter last night and flied out. Rutledge was doing a great job filling in at shortstop, both offensively and defensively, in the wake of the injury to Troy Tulowitzki. And the Rockies feel right now that Rutledge may be their long-term answer at second base. Remember, they had Marco Scutaro playing second base when the year began. Traded him to the Giants. There's a fastball for a strike from Francisco. Well, Adrian Beltre just grounded out in his 4th at bat in Texas, so he's still got 3 home runs and perhaps another chance at a 4th. Tomorrow, final game of this series. Day game. Colin McHugh makes his big league debut for the Mets on the mound. Tyler Chatwood goes for the Rockies. 12:30 right here on SNY. And Rutledge swinging and missing at the fastball, 0-2. Line to right, that's going to head toward the line and down into the corner. Nelson scores. Rutledge goes to second with a pinch hit double and an RBI. And the Rockies now lead it 5-2. And they're going to have to pinch run for Rutledge. He's got the bad wheel.
High fastball, good hitting, went right with it.
Alex White, who started the opening game of the series on the mound, a pitcher, will pinch run for Rutledge. So the wheels come off again for the Mets late in the ball game. Seems like a nightly occurrence.
It has not been pretty. It's been painful.
Well, last year, early in the season, the Rockies came to Citi Field and swept a 4-game series from the Mets. This is a 4-game series as well, and the Rockies on the verge of taking the first 3. Charlie Blackmon, the batter, has gone 0 for 4 tonight. I think the difference is last year the Rockies came in with a full contingent with Helton and with Gonzalez and Tulowitzki, and Tulo had the tremendous series against them. Here the Rockies came in with a skeleton team with most of their frontline players hurt,
with 9 rookies,
and with the worst pitching staff in the National League by far, and yet the Rockies have played well and the Mets have been unable to generate any offense against that less than stellar Rockies pitching staff. It's been a troubling series for the Mets all the way around. One and one to Charlie Blackmon. And he lines one to right and overcomes Valdespin to grab it side retired. They had some bullets against Francisco in that inning. 2 runs come home. Rockies stretch their lead to 5-2 as Betancourt will come on to try to save it. Second save in this series.
Well, they got the save in the first game. It's 24th.
Frank Francisco a little unhappy after giving up 2 runs in the top of the 9th.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Time for a snap. Ooh, that's a big snap. The big guy doesn't want to get in his way.
Nope.
Well, just about everybody connected with the Mets right now is very frustrated. If the Mets don't rally in the bottom of the 9th against Betancourt, they will be 10 games under 500 for the first time since the end of the 2009 season.
Well, there's Betancourt's numbers, and Torres will try to get something going here. 3 runs down.
Torres, Shopik, and Murphy, the 3 scheduled hitters for the Mets in the bottom of the 9th. If the Mets do not score here in the 9th, they will have gone 5 straight games without scoring more than 2 runs. That would be their longest such stretch in 9 years. Torres 1 for 3 tonight. He had a base hit against Betancourt in the game on Monday night. "37-year-old Rafael Betancourt delivers and gets it over for a strike to Torres." Well, the Nats got a run in the bottom of the 8th against Eric O'Flaherty. Mike Morrison RBI hit, but the Braves still lead 2-1 as they go to the 9th in D.C. Josh Tolle, I should say Mike Baxter out on deck to bat for Kelly Shopik. So Shopik in conversation with Terry Collins instead. Corners in against Torres. Betancourt takes a long time to throw the ball.
Boy, he sure does. He's got all the gyrations, the nervous ticks. It's like looks like Norton out there. Ed Norton, honeymooners.
Fly ball, shallow center, and in comes Colvin to grab it. You mean as in
Art Carney.
Address the ball? Hello, ball.
Yes,
like that?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Here's Mike Baxter to bat for Kelly Shopik. Nobody does Honeymooners material better than Howie.
Oh, really?
Oh, he knows every episode by heart.
It was quite a show.
Positioning the outfielders for Mike Baxter, who started last night in right field and went 0 for 4, snapping his 8-game hitting streak. And he takes it wide from Betancourt for ball 1.
Even though he had the 8-game hitting streak, he still hasn't really found his rhythm yet, coming back from the disabled list, out for so long.
And he lines one the other way past the glove of Nelson, and Baxter has a pinch hit single.
There you go.
Well, the Mets need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate here in the 9th.
Good hitting right here. Just by him. I don't know why he was playing in, the third baseman, Chris Nelson.
So Daniel Murphy will bat for the 2nd time. Came up as a pinch hitter in the 7th and stayed in at 2nd base. Rounded out his only at bat. The pitcher spot due up next, and Justin Turner's come out on deck. Boy, those 2 runs in the top of the 9th look enormous now. And the first pitch breaking ball in for a strike from Betancourt. Now lost in the fact that the Mets have their backs to the wall in this game is that Matt Harvey pitched another terrific ball game tonight. 6 strong innings, allowed just a run on 3 hits, 9 strikeouts in those 6 innings. Something to build on. In at the knees for a strike, off speed from Betancourt, and it's 0-2. Pacheco playing behind Baxter at first. Betancourt, who was a strike thrower, ahead on Murphy, 0-2. And he gets him looking with a fastball. Breaking ball, changeup, fastball. Murphy, 3 pitches, 3 strikes, goes down looking. 2 out.
Well, he paints him right here. Slider first pitch he took. Changeup he took. And then a paint fastball. So I think Murph got caught looking.
So the Mets are down to their final out. Justin Turner will be the pinch hitter. Justin's had 1 at bat in this series, flied out as a pinch hitter on Monday night. Baxter at first and 2 out. Turner trying to keep it alive for Cedeno, who's on deck. And behind Cedeno is David Wright. There goes Baxter, not being held on. Takes second on defensive indifference as Turner takes a strike. Now Betancourt with the 0-1, and Turner takes in tight. Carlos Torres is pitcher of record on the long side for the Rockies. He went 2 2/3 in relief and allowed a run on 1 hit. Ramon Ramirez on the hook for New York. He gave up the 2 runs of the 7th to put the Rockies in front, including that Wheeling Rosario home run. Braves have tacked on an insurance run in the 9th and lead 3-1, trying to salvage a game in that series. And now the Mets are down to their final strike. Betancourt trying to wrap things up for the night. The Rockies trying for their 11th win in their last 16 games, playing some of their best ball of the year at a time when many of their stars are absent. Betancourt a strike away from his 25th save of the year. Here's the 1-2 to Turner.
Yes, sir.
It's blown away.
Boy, oh boy, they thought they were all going in the clubhouse right there. Look at the reaction of the catcher and Betancourt. You can't put that in a better spot.
Post game spread will have to wait.
Boy, oh boy, he framed it right there for him. Got corner knees.
Harry Cederstrom said no. Jim Tracy will have to sweat out one more pitch. Now the 2-2. And Turner wastes that one. Cedeno would be next if Turner can keep the game alive. Justin leads the Mets with 10 pinch hits this year. You got Baxter at second and 2 out.
Jeez.
Now Turner tired of waiting on Betancourt, who takes an eternity out there.
Human rain delay.
Positively Traxel-esque.
He's got everything twitching. Chewing gum. Jeez.
Again the 2-2. And Turner pokes another one foul. And now the Braves have tacked on another. They lead 4-1 in the 9th in Washington.
So they're going to get out. Looks like they're going to get out of Dodge. It's not over, but they're they're going to get out of Dodge without getting swept. That's a huge one for them.
Freeman and Bourne with ninth inning RBIs for Atlanta against Tom Gorzelani.
Here we go.
Seventh pitch of the at-bat upcoming from Betancourt to Turner. If Betancourt ever has a sign that he wants.
What is going on? Well,
so the rookie catcher goes out to talk to his veteran right-hander.
Gary Cederstrom wishes he rang up Turner a couple pitches prior.
Bo McLaughlin, the Rockies pitching coach, hoping that Betancourt can put this game to bed. Bo's got a fairly serious demeanor.
He does. All right. One's a fastball, two's a slider, three's a change.
They got a runner at second.
So, first sign after one.
Now the 2-2 to Turner. And there'll be one more. Well, Turner giving a good accounting of himself here, keeping the game alive. It's now 5-1 Atlanta. They've scored 3 in the ninth now. Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming to Turner. And he tries to lay off the breaking ball and stopped it in time. Lance Barksdale with a call, and Turner's worked it to 3-2. And if he can get on, the Mets can get the tying run to the plate.
Turner right on top of the plate. Did not swing.
Well, Tracy and the rest of the Rockies thought they had Turner struck out earlier in the at-bat. But Betancourt has had to work hard for what he hopes will be the final out. Turner's worked it to 3-2. Trying to give the Mets life in the ninth.
Oh.
And he pokes it down the right field line, and that'll go foul.
Well, tough one to lay off. That was ball 4 right there. And Betancourt just wants to stay outside. That stick right there is that kind of synthetic pine tar that was developed by former Dodger Pittsburgh Pirate Manny Mota. I never liked it. It was I always liked the real pine tar.
A little less messy than pine tar.
It is less messy. The pine tar smelled really good though. It smelled good on your hands.
Well, Betancourt's throwing 9 pitches to Turner. He'll have to throw at least one more. Again, the 3-2. And he walked him, and the Mets will get the tying run to bat. Oh, what an at-bat for Justin Turner. 10 pitches. They almost got him, but he was able to hang in there and work out the walk, and the Mets will have a chance here in the bottom of the ninth with 2 out and 2 on.
Well, that was a terrific at-bat.
So Ronnie Cedeno is 1 for 4 on the night, and if he can get on, David Wright would be next. Baxter at second, Turner at first with 2 down. Mets playing with their backs against the wall here in the bottom of the ninth. So Betancourt has to work a little harder. 2 on and 2 out. And Cedeno takes a fastball strike.
Very deep in the outfield. The 2 runners on cannot beat you.
Guy at the plate can tie it. But now Betancourt ahead on Cedeno, 0-2.
No, he wants it away, and he's just been living on that outside corner. This is not a strike. A little cutter. Now he's in business here. 0-2. Cedeno's got to bear down.
Ronnie's 0 for 3 in his career against Rafael Betancourt. Too high with the fastball. 1-2. Baxter and Turner, the base runners. 1-2 the count to Ronnie Cedeno. And it's too high. And Bedcourt still unable to seal the deal. San Francisco, in Los Angeles, the Giants have 3 in the first against Chris Capuano. 2 of them on a Joaquin Arias home run, the former Met, as they try to sweep that series. 2-2 now to Cedeno with 2 out and 2 on. And Ronnie fouls it back. This is starting to look like Turner's at bat that just preceded it. Baxter with a 1-out single. Turner with a 2-out walk. Cedeno, who was behind 0-2, has worked it to 2-2. And he fouls off another fastball. Well, if nothing else, the Mets are working Bedcourt hard enough that the 37-year-old might not be available tomorrow afternoon.
No, he's got to throw one inside sooner or later, doesn't he?
Cedeno, not a big home run threat, but he has hit 3 this year. Right now, just trying to get David Wright to the plate. She's hoping. 2-2. Off the corner, and it's a full count. Bedcourt left shaking his head. Bobby Parnell hoping there'll be a 10th inning.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? One call. This game should have been over 10 minutes ago.
Well, he had to throw 10 pitches to Turner. Now he's going to throw an 8th pitch to Cedeno. The runners will be in motion. Baxter and Turner with 3-2 and 2 out. And Cedeno hits it in the air to left field, chasing Cargill back, but he's got plenty of room at the edge of the track, and the ball game is over. The Rockies have won the first 3 games of the series despite the best efforts of Matt Harvey. Willen Rosario with the go-ahead home run in the 7th, and the Mets fall to 10 games under 500 for the first time since the end of the 2009 season.
Well, the Mets got 8 hits today, but the most important thing is the runs. They have not scored. They continue to struggle. Only 5 runs in the first 3 games of this series. A last place Colorado Rocky team comes in and takes the first 3. Looking for a sweep tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Day game.
Mets have scored 2 runs or less now, 5 straight games. First time they've done that since 2003. Your New York Community Bank game summary. No decision for Matt Harvey, who pitched very well again tonight. Gave up a run on 3 hits and struck out 9 over 6 as the Rockies win it 5-2. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. By Audi. Truth in engineering. By Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. By Cadillac. By Pepsi Max. Go to A&P, Pathmark, and Wallbaum's to find the Pepsi display for details on how to win Mets tickets and a party in the Pepsi porch. And by Suzuki Auto's all-wheel drive lineup. Visit Suzuki.com for more details. Rockies win it tonight 5-2. They've taken the first 3 of the series. Mets try to salvage the finale tomorrow afternoon with Colin McHugh making his big league debut against Tyler Chatwood. Our coverage begins on SNY tomorrow at 12:30. Now for Keith Hernandez, Kevin Burkhardt, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason Post Game Live. Let's join Gary Apple and Bobby Ojeda in the studio.